of his eye. Sit right down, we're gonna give you the scoop with Ryan Pfeiffer and Lisa Doop. Shama-lama ding-dong, loop-de-loop. This is the story of a guy named Mr. Boop.
You're listening to Being Mr. Boop. I distinctly remember it being a cold night when the Boop Boys and Lisa entered my office. I had just finished up with a case involving a cat in an intentional stance, and was particularly bummed out as it didn't go as I planned. Sure, everyone knew the BB&L around Pitch Drop Alley, but we didn't like them. When Mr. Boop croaked it on New Year's Day and the Davis fellas showed signs of slowing down, they showed up more than willing to fulfill both their seats, quickly rising in the ranks of the Boop gang as well as the Davis crew. They'd actually been quite close with the Davis guys before they stabbed them in the back. Sure, it's friendly faces for newspapers now, but you can tell it's fake. Just the same way you can tell those Davis creeps are being kept alive by some devil's promise to podcast forever. Didn't you guys used to be Jim Davis? I say to them. They just give me a smirk. Next things I know, I have 2 Betty Boop head-shaped bullets in my chest. I woke up 2 hours later in a hospital. No one ever saw him after that, and I never told a soul what happened to me, or that I was the last to see the Boop Boys and Lisa. Wherever they are now, I hope it's nice. My name is Ryan Pfeiffer, and I am Mr. Boop.
My name is Lisa Doop, and I am Mr. Boop.
Lisa, what day is it? What day is it? No. Save it for the next podcast. What day is it, Lisa?
It's January 1st, 2021.
You skipped the actual day.
Yeah, it's
you
Friday,
skipped the day of the week. It's Friday. Yeah. It's Friday, January 1st, 2021. Today we're in the 217th ever Mr. Boop strip.
It's true.
What happens in today's Mr. Boop?
In today's Mr. Boop, the end of Boop.
Oh my god.
Wow, we're done.
We're done.
Good night, everybody.
We're free. We're finally free. Well, not quite. Not yet.
The shackles of, Boop
Oh, Lisa! What's the
What?
shadow synopsis?
Oh, shit.
Hang on. Oh, we
is
didn't
there-
fucking
is
pull it
there-
up.
is-
I can't
is
believe
there
we're
a
not
shit-
prepared for the final episode.
Is there a... Classic us.
Classic us.
This is just like the Boot Boys and also Lisa.
You gotta pull up the shadows.
I'm doing.
Okay. Grand finale in brackets that's just the name. That's not really
Cool.
a shadow synopsis, but it's there. Anything on Patreon, or is it a
I'm
big
looking,
thing to
I'm
read
still
after?
looking. I'm still looking.
All right. Well, I guess we'll start then.
Okay.
This is a bit different. This is a video. This is not.
It's a what?
It's a video. It's
A what? Oh, the shadow synopsis is Patreon shadow synopsis. This is it. Lowercase.
oh
This is it.
cool. All right. Well, this is it. We have a white void, as we usually do.
One of the Patreon comics reads, "This one isn't a comic strip."
It's not. It's a video. A what?
You there?
Shut up.
What medium is this?
Well, it's a video, sir. The strip, as always. There is a strip. There is a strip. It's the last strip. The last strip we read, strip 216, is on a white void, which it usually is, but now it's a white void, the dimensions of a video.
Yeah.
And we see.
What's the highest quality on this video we got? What's the
Okay.
dimensions? Ooh, 1080p.
1080p. Oh, let me read the description. No, I'll read the description after. So we don't need to describe this. We just see strip 216 with the title and everything on a white void. And we hear a song playing as it kind of shrinks into the distance very slowly.
The song is definitely from the end of
Who
Evil
knows
Dead.
what it's from? We could never know.
I'd
It's just a
recognize
song.
that anywhere. I'd recognize
It's a
that
song.
anywhere.
There's some tambourine So, and it's like dun,
Piano.
dun, 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 dun. Who
Acoustic.
knows? That could be anything. Anyway,
It could be. Now we see
the strip,
Mr. Boop's setup.
the white void, fades into a drawing tablet.
You know what I noticed about this? Look at how many layers he's using. Just the one.
Oh, that doesn't
Yeah.
seem realistic.
Well,
I
we
don't
had
think-
this argument last week, and you said he was only using one, and I said,
Oh
two.
no, I don't think he actually. I think he pasted the finished strip into. What does he use here?
You don't
Clip
think this is
Studio.
a
He uses
speech?
Clip Studio Paint. Let's take a look at his setup here. First of all, well,
Yeah.
let's describe the whole picture here. We're seeing we have his both of his.
zooming
We
out.
see both of his hands, and it is slowly zooming out. And the elements are separate. Like the background with the drawing tablet with the strip on it. The strip is still there.
Yeah.
Is a different element than his two hands, which are rendered with more detail than usual because it's close up.
Mhm. 'Cause it's
His
real.
his right hand is holding a drawing tablet pen, and the other is on a mouse. This is a tablet that is like flat down on his desk, which is not rendered at all. It's just the desk is like a white background. But
It's a
anyway,
dramatic effect.
those two elements, the hands with the pen and the mouse, are different elements than the background. So as it zooms out, they're moving somewhat separately. And so okay, so on the tablet, which has, oh my god, wait, when's the last time we saw this tablet? I kind of want to compare.
That was a while ago, wasn't
I kind of want to compare if this is similar to. The only details on the frame of this tablet are two dots on the top, which I don't know if that's a logo or what. I don't know what that is. There's no other like anything else on it. No buttons
The last
or
time we
anything.
saw his setup was How to Draw My Wife, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I'm looking at it right now.
but we haven't seen a picture of the tablet before like this.
I don't think... we've seen a drawing of the tablet, but I don't think it looked like this.
It didn't have like the two little ovals on top.
No, it was a very simplistic drawing.
I mean, this is very simplistic.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's
So in the tablet is is like actual, not drawing UI, like actual screenshot of his working interface with the strip on it. And it's still strip 216. This is a 1,650 pixels by 1,650 pixels. Perfect square. I was editing a Mr. Boop strip earlier today, and I noticed whatever strip it was the first strip actually, and that was the same dimensions as this. So I would say it probably stayed consistent this whole time. At the top, so the file is called mrboop216.png, and it says 1650 by 1650 pixels, 300 DPI. I don't know what that is. DPI, 100.0%, and yeah, Clip Studio Paint EX.
Yeah.
So you can probably just gather from the rest of this what Clip Studio Paint would look like. You can Google what Clip Studio Paint would look like, and figure that out. We've described his desktop, his bar before.
Yeah.
Lisa, can you compare if his what is it called, the toolbar, taskbar, whatever at the bottom? If that's at all different.
I sent it in chat. It is a little different, I think. Let's see, what's he got in his original? He's got the file
Oh
folder.
yeah, there's more stuff there. There's an A symbol.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's for. And there's a little cube, like a little box cube symbol next to that. Those are both there's 3 symbols added to the end after Steam. And there's I think some others besides that, but there's 3 added after Steam, which is Microsoft Edge. That one's interesting. In fact, I think Chrome is gone. And wait. Is it gone or is it just covered up? Yeah, Chrome is gone. He uses Microsoft Edge now. This feels creepy to examine, but we don't need to go through every single item because I don't know what they all are. Not. Yeah, let's not. But there's new items.
So we're zooming at where this is.
OBS is not open, notably, because it was last time because he was recording his tutorial. Yeah, and now it's just a screenshot. I guess this is just a screenshot, or it's a.
It's interesting.
Fantasy. I don't know.
It's rendered in black and white. Interestingly.
Well, the screenshot is, yeah.
Yes, to keep in with the tone of the comic, I suppose. I don't know if there's any color in any of Mr.
I didn't really. It's interesting. I don't think I really thought of Mr. Poop as being black and white because it's drawn. Like it's not like a black and white filter. It's just like a drawing that's not colored in. That's interesting how I think about it differently. If you like I think if I was seeing, like, imagine you're looking at a Garfield strip in the paper with no color in it, and then Garfield holds up a photo and it's in black and white. It's like, whoa, why is Garfield holding up that black and white photo? That's how it would feel. I want to look at the brush he's using here real quick. Like, it says leaky pen. I was trying to draw something in the Mr. Boop style earlier today, not to like tangent too much on that, but this is interesting to look at because of that, because I was having trouble finding a suitable replacement for like his brush that he uses to draw this, and especially coloring in. I couldn't figure out a way to do the shading style. I had to do that in MS Paint. Like that was the closest way I could try to replicate that is colored in MS Paint and then layer that in underneath the line art. But so he uses leaky pen here. He has some other pens that are all like Ray something. Most of them are Ray something. This one's just leaky pen. Which I think he always uses this like same sort of tool, I think, which is sort of like a rough sort of brush. I was honestly thinking when I couldn't find a good way to a good brush replica and like way to color it like this, I was like honestly wondering, like, does he draw this on paper and scan it? Like, I don't think he does. I think we've gone over this and decided he doesn't, but it's like, what is he? I can't figure it out in my drawing software. Granted, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, I don't know what the brush is. Like, I can't figure it out. Like, none of the brushes I were using were replicating this coloring style where it can be like kind of overlap in a watercolor sort of way. It was all like a solid color sort of thing. So yeah, even the watercolor brush was like when there wouldn't be like layers of color, like in MS Paint. If you use a watercolor type brush, and it will layer the color, which is why I had to do it in MS Paint. Weirdly more advanced than I use Fire Alpaca. And that I don't know.
Photoshop.
You can add brushes, I assume, but so I could probably do that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really interesting how we're clearly this is showing us we're breaking away from we're breaking the fourth wall in a way, right? And it's a really interesting way of showing us this by literally panning away from the screen. He's done this before, right? I think at the end of book 2.
He's done it before, but it's kind of weird to call it breaking the fourth wall because it is like canon in the strips that he draws this, but it feels like at the point in 216 where they're at, it's like not even really canon anymore. They draws it. It's never mentioned. Like, I think we've argued about this maybe, but it's like,
yeah. No, because I remember this video, but pretty well.
Is that why you were saying that?
Yeah, because I'm like, because you can see he's drawing.
I feel like this backs it up because he is drawing it, but it's not the Alec in the strip drawing it.
Yeah, no, like we came up with the up with the free Alec system, right? Remember, real life author Alec, mid Alec.
I suppose.
And I think that bottom layer Alec probably doesn't draw it anymore.
No.
Right.
No.
But second layer Alec, of course.
So we're
is
zooming
doing
out to second layer Alec. That's whose
Yes.
hands we're seeing as this song plays.
Yes, we can tell it's the second layer because of, I guess, it's zooming out.
So we get a reverse shot of Alec. Why does this look familiar? What is this shot here?
This shot's the cover of book 3.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
of book 3 or of book 4?
Book 4, I mean.
Oh, okay, it doesn't exist then yet. Never mind.
Not yet.
But his eyes look crazy here. So this is it's worth noting. This is Alec here looks like what was it called? Mr. Boop?
Layer 2 Alec.
Well, yeah, but he looks like
Mr. Boop.
He looks like Mr. Boop.
This is how he's telling us that it's,
and he's kind of got some like folds under his chin because of the angle we're seeing him at, I guess. Very thin philtrum.
I think it's interesting because we've talked about this free reality system just only recently, but I think that it's important to note that within Mr. Boop, the topmost layer is never actually acknowledged, really. Other than, like, I guess in the videos, but that's still layer 2 Alec. It would be a bit off.
Weird to think of it that way, but yeah, it is. Oh no, I think since the world of this strip is deteriorating, the world of our podcast may also be deteriorating.
I'm cranking the.
Oh no!
I'm cranking the phonograph as fast as I can, Ryan. I'm trying to.
You're what?
I'm still trying to get this going.
Photograph?
Phonograph. Yeah.
I thought you said we're saying photograph like Marty McFly.
Oh. Anyway, we're both like Marty McFly. We're fading away from this podcast.
That's why we're both hacking up long. It's not because one of us has COVID.
We've been fading out since the beginning of the episode, actually.
I think we're saying since the beginning of episode 1. It's been a very slow fade out, and now we're like barely visible. That's how much we're fading out. Luckily, the voice doesn't go at all until we're like completely gone.
Cool shot here, I reckon.
It's an interesting shot.
Yeah.
A lot of details on the wrinkles of his shirt. I mean, not the wrinkles of his shirt, but like the wrinkles of the outline of his shirt, but not so much on the shirt, other than like where the sleeves part and stuff.
I believe it's a close-up, right?
It's a close-up.
Yeah.
A few buttons. His hair isn't as detailed as the rest of him. I feel like we see more lines in his hair when he's... Well, I was going to say when he's just regular Mr. Boop, but I guess that was only in the first few strips, wasn't it? Only at first were there as many lines like that. I think the most notable thing about his appearance here is his eyes look really crazy.
Yeah.
They don't look super realistic. They just look like pretty like.
It's hard to tell what he's trying to convey by doing the eyes like that.
It's like he's going mad. Slight baggage under his eyes. One of the pupils is like
dilated.
He's got like two different colored irises. Is what
he's
it's
got
like.
He's got that David Bowie thing where one pupil is permanently dilated.
That's what it is. The pupil is covering up one of the irises. On his left eye.
Yeah.
Also, this is just the way he drew it. This is not a notable detail, but the glasses are like part of the nose.
They're like Oh yeah, I was noticing the glasses look like goggles here. You know.
Oh, they're like he's got a Groucho Marx nose. And the eyebrows are right on top of the glasses, too. So it's like the eyebrows are part of it, too. It's because they're also very Groucho-y.
Oh, my God.
It just needs the mustache.
I wish I knew any Groucho material that I could...
I wish I knew any Groucho material. I'd use it in this podcast. But I don't, so I won't.
Duck soup?
Duck soup. Good night, folks.
That's all we got time for.
Yeah,
cool
Gummo
shot.
Marx. Go
Very
visit the
epic.
tomb of Gummo Marx. Anyway,
Right, Mr. Boop sent you.
yeah, carve it into his tomb.
Okay.
The
we got a
background,
gradient
great.
on the back.
I guess you'd call it that. It's the white background is fading to red.
Mm-hmm.
Red, like
He's also got
blood
tears
red
in his eyes now.
color, and yeah,
He's-
globs of tears have formed under his eyes. The picture has stayed the same except for these tears appearing. It now fades to the same shot, but his hands are covering his face in like a "oh dear God, what have I done" sort of position.
Very similar to the way that characters' positions change in what's it called, visual novels, just by fading into a different pose.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they just like
Hard cut.
yeah
Yeah.
snap.
Really cool. His creation is like, he's like, oh no, this has gone too far. What have I? What?
Who's to say what's going on here?
What is like? Well, I mean,
Us.
it's not
That's the point.
not my job to say. It's not my place to say.
It's not my place to say as host of a as host of a Mr. Boop
Of a
recap
200
podcast.
plus
It's not my place to
episodes.
say as to what's happening in this Mr. Boop.
Yeah, no, he's like, I just love this like raw emotional reaction to, how much his creation has twisted himself, has twisted itself and also him. He's like, oh no, but also I feel like it might be
Lisa, it's time for the drinks roundup.
okay.
What are you drinking?
Let's reach into the mailbag. I'm not drinking anything.
We don't have a
I
mailbag.
we
don't have any mail. Wait, we might. Do we have the one mail?
Whoa,
Do we have the one email? We were gonna do a bonus
Um,
episode being
yes.
Mr. Our one email. If we got one email, did we get it? Did we get an email?
Let's see.
We're gonna transition into the bonus episode in the middle of our finale.
Yeah, of course.
If we have an email, we will.
Oh
He's-
wow.
His ears are kind of Mr. Potato Heady.
One old message has been archived.
What?
Yeah. A message that is over 1 month old has now been archived.
I don't. Okay, I don't know what that means.
That's what the email says. It says one message of yours has been archived.
What message? What does that mean? What?
Well, the last. Okay, I'll see what the message was. The message is
In what?
in our email box, our inbox.
We got an
That we
email
could-
saying a message was
One of-
archived in our email.
One of our old emails have been archived.
How do we get an email saying that one of our emails have been archived? How does that make sense?
I don't know. But I'll see which email has been archived.
I-
Oh, it says the same thing, and also the one before
So the
that
email
says the
that has
same
been
thing.
archived is an email that said one of
Yeah.
your emails has been archived.
I think I don't even know what the real.
Is this
email
just a
was.
recursive thing?
Yeah, this happens like once a month. I get one of these.
What? What is this? Is this Gmail? What is this?
This is webmail.meaningmrboop.com.
Webmail is awful. What is this? This shot reminds me of the poster for Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close. Remember that movie?
Sure,
with
no,
Tom
I
Hanks?
don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
That was a movie people were talking about when it came out. I think only because of the title.
Huh. What's it
Uh,
about?
Tom Hanks and his drama with his son or something. I don't know.
Whoa!
You're saying
Next
whoa
shot.
because of the
Next shot.
the next shot, not because of the movie Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close.
That sounds like a cool premise, so I'll admit.
Does it really?
No, it doesn't.
So we're seeing a new panel on a
Yes.
blue background. What shade of blue would you say this is?
Ooh, navy.
Okay, I would call it Violet Beauregard blue.
Is that a real established one, or did you just make that
No.
up?
It just reminds me of Violet Beauregard.
Oh.
Listen close, listen hard. It's called Violet Beauregard.
What is the panel in the middle of this blue? Ryan.
It's a normal Mr. Boop panel.
Yeah, we see bottom layer Alec.
By the way,
Mr.
I'm
Boop.
drinking a can of Mountain Dew Baja Mango Gem, which is a new Mountain Dew Baja flavor they have. It doesn't taste. It doesn't. I don't know what the point is because it's like Mountain Dew Baja Blast is like. It's that Baja Blast is made to complement the flavors of the Taco Bell menu, and it's like, oh well, now we're selling Baja Blast in stores, and here's 2 other Baja flavors, but it's like they're not Baja. These are just completely different flavors. They don't because Baja Blast is lime, and this is a mango flavor. It has nothing to do with it. There's no Baja Blast flavors in this, and neither is the other one, Gold Baja Gold. It's just pineapple flavor. I also got some water. And
Alec Robbins is in a Quiznos
We're doing the
basement.
drinks roundup, Lisa. This is required. Where's your drinks? Go get a drink.
I'll get a drink.
And I have
you do the drinks roundup, and
I'm finishing up this Dunkin' iced coffee, bottled coffee and milk beverage, thin Girl Scout Thin Mints flavor, official Girl Scout flavor. And I also have a little dipping cup of ketchup here. I guess that could kind of like qualify the drink. I'm not going to drink it, but I was dipping some tater tots in it a little bit ago. The coffee is pretty okay. The soda is pretty okay. I don't think the Baja flavors are really as good as I have a variety pack of the Baja flavors because I wanted to try them, and they're like whatever. And I have a variety pack of some other. It's Mountain Dew Spark, regular Mountain Dew, and Major Melon. And those are pretty good.
What a fascinating drink right there.
And what about yours, Lisa?
Coke Zero Sugar. What do you think? From a liter bottle, poured right into a little glass.
A liter?
Liter.
Oh, it's a liter.
What?
It's a liter, ain't it?
Yes,
Jesus.
it is indeed.
This is an uncovered cup of water, by the way. This is water from the tap, not filtered, just sitting out in a glass, uncovered. That's what I'm drinking.
That's cool.
Go on. What are we seeing?
We are
been waiting for you to describe it.
Alec is in the same environment we saw him in the last strip. The Quiznos basement, as we lovingly referred to it.
You think so?
Yeah, this is clearly well, I mean, I don't know.
I suppose
think
so. I wasn't really sure what it was. It kind of my first thought was it seemed like a desolate, apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, but we see
we see the chair and the rope.
We
and
see the
stuff,
chair
so
and the
yeah,
rope,
and
so
the sustains on the wall. But it's all the whole background is shaded in and stuff, so it's still dark in there, and it's like. It kind of seemed like desolate wasteland like that. But what's interesting is the strip 216 was not there. It was all just white.
Oh right, maybe yeah.
Like that had already faded out of existence. It seemed like, or he just didn't bother drawing it for that one.
I guess I feel like he wanted to convey to the audience that it was the same location. Or it wasn't like a time skip or something. I don't know. Some sense of continuity.
I felt like when we got to strip 216, it's like the farce of the Quiznos basement was done away with, but now it's back.
I want to point out something.
Yes.
In the physical version, the background's not there. There's no background in this.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're looking at this. If you want to make comparisons to that, you should probably save it for the video on the physical version.
I've been saving the things I've been noting, but I mean this one we were just talking about the background. I was like, and like the relevance of it.
Okay, and I understand why you said it. I think this would be better conversation for that.
I agree
too. I agree that you agree.
I'm glad we both agree.
There's shading.
Hands are in his head.
Yeah. That's right. His position is on his knees on the floor, head in hands. He's still in his underwear, beaten up and everything. Like it's still exactly the same scene we left him in strip like 215.
He's either sobbing or his brain is exploding. I'll maybe both.
I think he's sort of doing in the layer 1 Alec is sort of going through the same thing layer 2 Alec is going to, but like even more so.
Wait a second. Layer 1 Alec is Mr. Boop, right?
Layer 3,
layer
whatever.
2 is
layer 1, whatever. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I do. I just want to. Let's just say Mr. Boop, Mr. Boop, and Alec Robbins.
His knee is placed on. Well, by Mr. Boop, do you mean the titular Mr. Boop or the titular, non-titular Mr. Boop?
Well, I mean the titular.
You gotta
Mr.
be
Boop.
more specific.
You can call me Mr. Boop, or you can go. You know,
Yeah. No respect. There's nice shading underneath, like on his limbs, which is not usually there. He like put some extra. He put the tiniest bit extra effort into this panel.
For once in his goddamn life.
I say only the tiniest bit because, like, compared to the last few strips, this is like pretty much par for the course. Other than the fact that he added some extra shading on the limbs.
I mean, he animated this. Like, I mean, he made.
I'm talking about this
video
specific
instead.
panel. I'm not saying the whole thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, like, yeah.
It's not like he spent a lot of time on that foot.
I forgive him for, you know, making some shortcuts because it's a video version.
I can't. No.
Okay.
His knee is on the rope, which is not notable, but gotta be uncomfortable.
I'm glad we're not.
I feel like that would be distracting for when you're having a breakdown. It's like, oh, my knee is on this rope. I gotta. Anyway, back to my breakdown. That's what I do in real life.
Anyway,
like, the noise outside is distracting. Anyway, back to my breakdown. The music is still playing throughout all this, by the way. The panel fades out, by the way. The background of the panel and the Alec in that panel is cut out and left in this the blue background that the panel was on, this blue void.
Yeah.
And he lifts his head out of his hands in like one cut. His nose is bloody, his glasses are cracked still, tears are in his eyes.
His hands are apparently mortally wounded. They look like they've been
because of the way they're drawn.
They look like they've been broken.
That's just how they look.
Yeah,
He looks like he's looking at something. He looks like he's looked up from. He looks like he looked up from having his head in his hands because something happened and he's looking up.
I imagine he's looking out at the worlds in which he's created, which I guess is faded away.
Maybe
by now.
we shall see.
The fact that the world was there and then faded away is sort of like a representation of what you were talking about, how the Quiznos fiasco faded away.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it already had, and then it was just back suddenly.
Well, this is just this is to convey that in this new medium, I guess.
I feel like he should have kept it for strip 216, just to keep it consistent.
I think it's a cool artistic thing to have.
I think
Alec
it worked for strip 216, but it caused a problem in this moment of 217.
I think that it's the effect of having Alec.
It caused a problem for people doing an hour-long analysis of it, because we have to call attention to the fact that it's inconsistent.
Everything you missed. Boop 217 analysis video, 1 hour. No, but I think that it's a cool fucking effect to have.
Does he know?
It's a cool effect to have that background fade away and just have the fictional Alec just like,
what was he booping?
taken away out of that world, sort of like how he's been forced out of the world.
Yeah, I think it works here, but it doesn't work with strip 216 very well.
Well, I mean,
that part of it.
I guess you mean it sort of like de-emphasizes 216. I mean.
I think it's just like it's just kind of weird that it's happening again. That he's like, it feels like it's that part is being emphasized again, even though it's already been emphasized that the background has gone away, but now it's just a more dramatic version of that. Anyway, I wonder if he's looking at something. Let's see. Oh, he's looking up
Bugs.
at Bugs.
Jesus Christ.
He's looking up at Bugs Bunny. Wait a second. This is interesting.
Yes.
I feel like what we're actually seeing here
Is a recreation of that.
a recreation of
lost-
strip 215 because
Of the
now
last
we're
week of
seeing
strips, I think.
Bugs
Or the
Bunny.
last three strips.
We're seeing the shot of Bugs Bunny putting the gun in his mouth, and we're seeing his hands holding the gun slowly come up to his mouth, with tears in his eyes, and he's still in the Quiznos uniform and everything. It looks pretty much just like a new render of panel 2 of strip 215. But Alex, I assume Alex's hand. It's a human hand. Wait, just to
It's like a flashback, I suppose.
maybe, but Alec didn't do this, did he? Alex's hand comes up, and
Yeah, he's changing his ways.
and stops Bugs from putting the gun in his mouth.
I suppose as the author, he can revise it.
Bugs,
This is the author out, Mr. Boop, revising his mistakes.
Bugs' eyelids were droopy, but then when the hand goes to stop him, he kind of looks up and looks at, I guess, who was stopping him. It just kind of looks like he looks to the side, even though the person's in front of him. But it looks to the right, even though the person's in front of him. I don't know. Here, okay. Maybe I should wait a little to see where this goes, but my immediate thought is not my immediate thought. Maybe my second or third thought is that
First one, I'm really thirsty right now. Second, my lips are chapped.
what?
And third, this.
Why does it matter that Alec is stopping him? Like, I don't feel like it's breaking. It's a development for him to want Bugs to not want to kill himself. Like, what is it? Layer 1, Alec? That we're seeing.
Mr. Boop. Mr. Boop is what I'll
This
call
is
it.
layer 1, though.
No, this is what I was referring as layer 3, or bottom layer.
Bottom layer Alec. Bottom layer Alec is already friends with Bugs Bunny and works with him at Quiznos, and like that's so why he wouldn't want him to kill himself. So this is something he would do anyways to try to stop him from killing himself. Like this doesn't feel like a significant development for him to not want him to kill himself. Other than the fact that it didn't happen in strip 215 and now we're seeing it happen.
Beforehand, Alec was
Alternate timeline.
an entirely passive figure in his
Strips 3 and
in
4
his
fade out of
fantasy world
existence. Diddly diddly.
But he was an entirely passive
I mean,
figure,
panel,
and this is
sorry.
him like sort of acknowledging the wrongdoings of himself and also like making an effort.
I think that I guess you're right that that's what it's supposed to be, but I also feel like that I do still feel like this is something that Alec would have done anyway. But I guess you're saying he's passive, but I feel like it's not out of character for him to want to have done this anyway. I don't know. I guess he was passive. I guess. He is kind of pushing the hands holding the gun out of the way, like those are moving
like
to the side.
Like Salt and Pepper.
Oh, yeah. Shoop. Boop day. You make me wanna boop. That's their other song.
So Bugs Bunny was about to shoot his brains out.
His fur is like salt and pepper color. Yeah, because it's gray. I guess Bugs is looking down, even though he was looking to the right, but we'll just say he's looking down because now we're seeing a shot of, I guess, from his perspective, looking at Alec, whose arm is going, I guess, towards the audience, but like, we know it's like pushing Bugs' gun's hand out of the way. He's smiling sweetly at Bugs Bunny. He's smiling gently at him, although there's tears still in his eyes, and he's still beaten up in in his underwear. This is all still in the blue void, and lyrics start to play in this song also, as we see this. It just says, "I know." I don't know. I'm not gonna say all the lyrics, but
yes, I feel like. I mean, are we allowed to acknowledge what this song is from now?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm gonna
Fine.
say
What is it? What the fuck is the song? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. What is it? I don't know. What?
It's from the what is it? Early 90s classic anime film End of Evangelion.
Bad
The
film.
cool sequence.
Bad
No,
movie.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. It's a cool sequence though, and it was like, oh.
Well, we're not allowed to
it's
get into
cool.
it because we didn't
just-
do a bonus episode about Evangelion.
Yeah, but we can acknowledge it in
we can acknowledge
relation to this.
we can
Relation-
acknowledge it. We can. I don't know how much we can really get into Evangelion because I think we're just
Yeah, I
gonna
don't-
get
it's not-
super
I
off
don't-
topic.
No, yeah, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Evangelion.
Anyway, I
specifically,
thought
but I wanna talk
Evangelion
about
was.
what he's- No, I just want to talk about how why he's using the same song and why he's reflecting the.
I think it's because
the
that was
mo-
the
the
end
motif.
of Evangelion, and this is the end
Whoa,
of
and this is
Mr.
the
Boop.
end of Boop.
That's the reason why. It's the only reason
I think
why.
it's. But there was more Evangelion after it. I think.
There
the
was. I
remakes
just
and
watched the last 2 episodes. I actually think I watched the last episode yesterday. It's one of the oldest shows I've ever finished. And I watched
But
the last
yeah,
episode.
it's,
The last 2 episodes honestly barely feel like they even take place after the movie, just because I guess they do. It's just all so confusing that it barely even feels like they do.
narrative.
We're probably going to get 2 Mr. Boop strips after this, I assume.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah, where it's just all still in this blue void still, and nothing makes sense.
Mhm.
But
But no, it's such an iconic moment of animation cinema, and obviously the decision to. Yeah, of course.
the song isn't from that,
whole
right?
fucking No, it is.
What's the
written
name
for
of the
the-
song, Lisa?
written
We
for
got to
film.
tell them what the name of the song is.
I don't know what the name of the song is. It's the song.
You
from
didn't
End
do
of
your
Evangelion.
research.
I mean, look
It's
at the
not
fucking
called
video
the-
description. It's in
It's
the
not
video
called the end of
description.
Evangelion song. M10 Nakanishi Ariane. I don't think that's the name of the song. I think that's like a file name. That can't be the name of the song. I get M10 underscore Nakanishi underscore Ariane. I don't think that's the name of the song. It says released 2013. I know that's not right. This is from album
Come
Evangelion
Sweet
Piano
Death,
Forte.
isn't it?
I know that's not right. I feel like the song probably was not made for the movie. Is my
No,
would
I'm
be my
sure. I'm
guess.
sure it was. I'm sure it was.
Why do you guess that?
Because it's.
Was the Evangelion
it's-
theme song made for the? Well, yeah, of course that was.
The song is called Come Sweet Death.
So then, are the lyrics about Evangelion?
I don't fucking know. It's in German, isn't it?
Wait, it's called "Come Sweet Death." Then why is this called M10 underscore Nakanishi underscore Ariane?
I don't know. It's the Wikipedia says song was performed with piano, harmonic organ. It was used in the 1997 film The End of Evangelion. Interesting. But it doesn't
Famously, it
tell me anything
was.
about when
That doesn't mean it's
it doesn't tell me
from.
It doesn't tell me anything about what it was originally written for.
Worth noting, the song is longer than this video,
Yes.
so we'll see how that works.
Yes, it's actually but also the only Wikipedia reference to this song is on the article Music of Neon Genesis Evangelion. So it doesn't have it's not at least a famous pre-existing song.
I guess I would say there's an 80% chance it was made for the movie. 80%, maybe 85. Maybe it was made for this.
This was Sophia's favorite song for a while.
Maybe it was,
But I think-
she hasn't even seen Evangelion.
No, it was because of this that she fell in love with it. But she knew it
But it was because of Mr. Boop.
Yeah, she was like, "This is a great song."
That's
And
so
then,
funny. Have
hasn't-
any
yeah.
other finales utilized the song like this has? I feel like they probably has
Let's see.
before.
Super Robot Wars Alpha 3.
End of Evangelion isn't really a finale, like you said.
No.
Like, so
Right. No, but I feel like that I meant as in the end part of the movie, like of when this is used. right?
Isn't there stuff after that song plays as well?
Yeah, but it's really to symbolize that it's going into the end half, right?
Okay. Yeah. I don't
Anyway,
even
clearly
remember what happened in that
he's in.
after that. It's just so
I
incomprehensible.
just remembered being wowed by the visuals and stuff, and having a strange emotional impact that I couldn't really comprehend.
Do you like David Lynch?
I've seen Eraserhead, sure.
I haven't. I've only seen season 1 of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
On the podcast?
Yes.
No.
I think multiple times.
No.
We talked about this on the Cheryl week. We said this exact same thing. I said I've seen Eraserhead, and you've said I've seen Twin Peaks.
Have you seen that's
just like a movie.
Have you seen that sequel they did, the Space Jam?
Oh, you bet. Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Let's talk about that.
I hate dinner.
Okay.
You want to know what my crazy theory about that movie is?
That he is allergic to dinner.
The mask was gonna play a bigger role. Allow me to
Well,
I'll
think
leave
when the did we talk about this when in the bonus episode? I think when the stuff was leaked for Space Jam: A New Legacy. I like how we're going over the greatest hits of Being Mr. Roop topics.
Remember the Electries?
That's not greatest hits. Although I think it it will be a shame if none of the slang comes up in this. That'll be a huge loss. Excuse me, because obviously there's no flapper shots.
Do you want to get a Funko Pop of LeBron James as Robin from the movie Space Jam? And
oh my god! Do you think he has that outfit in Multiverses?
I don't know. I don't pretend to know anything about Multiverses.
I think he's one of the. I think LeBron James is one of the free characters in Multiverses, which has been an interesting choice. But when the first leaks of Space Jam: A New Legacy, which were not really leaks, they did like a preview reel for some convention or whatever, and then that was leaked, and it was just like behind the scenes stuff of like, oh, they show the this was before any information about the plot or anything was out. And it was just like, here's behind the scenes stuff, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and you see like the Joker and Pennywise and the Mask and the Wicked Witch of the West and whatever. Like,
but why is the Mask wearing a striped shirt
around a basketball court? And it's like, oh my god, is this movie going to be about the Looney Tunes versus like classic Warner Brothers villains? Is the other team? Because that actually sounds amazing. Voldemort was another one.
I wanted them to appear in the Matrix.
Hagrid. Not really. That would have been so much more of an interesting plot. Could you
No,
They just had like the way they used the Warner Brothers properties was so soulless, and it's like they could have like had people interested in like actually done like fan service that people would have eaten up, but like they could have had, even if they didn't get Jim Carrey or whatever, like just fuck it, recast, like whatever, like it would be awful, but like
they should have gotten Jamie
people would
Kennedy.
eat it up. People would eat it up. Yeah, Jamie Kennedy, exactly. It could have been like
Bugs Bunny, he'd say.
Something like that.
He'd say
New
Don't
Legacy,
love Halloween, trick or treat, hardy har. Where's your work ID? ID. No ID.
I think Bugs Bunny
no
would have done
party.
the IDIV thing to him. He's like, what? That's my thing.
That's my thing. That's my. No, he would have said it more awkward, like, "That's my thing."
Oh, we should have watched Son of the Mask in preparation for the finale.
Yeah, we should have. I would have loved that.
Well, we still need to. That'll be another bonus episode. Yeah.
Son of the Mask, minute by minute recap.
Maybe live commentary. But yeah. Yeah, they could have done that. That would have been such an interesting plot to have, like, and it would have been so much. That was why I was actually interested in seeing what Space Jam: A New Legacy was going to be, because that plot sounds so much more that is an insane plot that is worthy of being a sequel to Space Jam. To have the Looney Tunes fight Warner Brothers villains, like that's such an awful idea, such an insane idea that's a perfect idea for a Space Jam sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the Space Jam: A New
maroon.
Legacy talking segment has completed. I hope you enjoyed that nostalgic look back on previous Being Mr. Boop topics. And we will...
Evangelion clearly influenced Alec Robbins, though, and I feel like this is him paying tribute to it. Right?
Should I save this for the end? I think I'm going to save this for the end, but I want to just quickly say, and we'll get back to it later, I think it's weird that this is suddenly a tribute to Evangelion in the last thing.
All right.
So we'll touch on that later, I think, but
this has been more Sopranos recently, hasn't it?
That was more earlier.
Yeah, no, I just remember because he said the biggest influences on this were the Sopranos and Evangelion.
Yeah.
And so it's been more.
Well, that one was more clear, and it was also like didn't affect the
this one
story in a big way. It was just like, yeah.
If he didn't decide to reference Evangelion here, it wouldn't have ended.
That's the question, isn't it? But yeah, so we cut to a shot still in the blue void of, just assume it's in the blue void. Bugs and Alec standing facing each other. We see full body view of them. Alec is underwear, but we don't see any of the injuries on him. They've healed or something. I don't know. He's lowering Bug's hand. We don't see it in motion, but we see his hands on Bug's lowered hands with the gun. And they're staring into each other's eyes. Alec is smiling sweetly and with tears in his eyes. Bugs is frowning sadly with tears in his eyes, and his ears are droopy. Oh, I love it when his ears are back. That's a Being Jim Davis reference. Hey, now that this podcast is over, everyone go listen to Being Jim Davis. We did a week recently. Go check it out.
Now imagine this image. Imagine this image, except Bugs Bunny isn't in the Quiznos uniform. Do you think that this would look so fucked if he wasn't in the Quiznos uniform? You know, like I feel like Bugs is,
especially because
his
Alec is in his underwear.
rule off.
Oh,
Bugs' proportions are so fucked that if he
mean.
wasn't in that uniform, this would look terrifying.
Honestly, I think the most proportionally fucked up part about this drawing is Alec's feet. What is going on with his feet?
It's your Garfield's feet.
No, Garfield's feet are not that fucked up. They're not. It's not that they're big. I think Bugs' feet are more similar to Garfield's feet here. His feet. He doesn't have heels. He doesn't, and I guess Bugs doesn't either. But it feels more natural the way it's shaped. Like this is like a slab of fish meat. Like this is like, what is this? This is like they're like shaped like the length of like pygmy clown feet. But like, which is an oxymoron, but like,
I'm pretty sure that's a slur, but I don't
pygmy?
know.
What?
The first time I heard that word was someone telling me that it was a slur, but I'm not.
I don't know. Even people just say pygmy for like tiny.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe it's not, but I mean, it's like the the other one I won't say. That's well, the one which we talked about, I think, on a podcast before, but I think what I heard about that one is it's specifically a slur in other countries. It's not it's not that it became a slur because of certain ways it was used in other countries, and it's not the way, like, it's not like it's like, oh, it was just a slur and we didn't know. It's like it became a slur elsewhere, and that's why you're not allowed to say it.
Which one? Tell me the first letter.
G.
Oh, G. I was wondering if you meant the G one, or because the one I know specifically that refers to is that's very similar to that is SPAZ. Familiar with that one?
Actually, I might have been thinking of that now that I think about it.
Yeah, because that one only really
which is not
became
which
a
we
slur
hadn't
in
talked
England
about.
because of
That
80s
is
television.
yes. And you know what? I think I'm totally wrong because I think I was thinking about that one. And I was talking about the other one, but I think I was thinking of that one.
Yes, I think maybe the G one has been around. For
the G one is probably
decades,
actually a slur.
Yeah,
maybe, but yeah, no, it was definitely the S one is what I was thinking of. Good topic for the finale of this.
Alec, if you're listening, tell us your thoughts.
What's your favorite slur, Alec?
Hopefully it's one you can say.
Can he say any?
I don't know. Let's see.
Maybe an Italian one, right? Those are all, anyone can say those.
Is he Italian? Oh.
No, anyone can say those.
Oh, right.
Right?
No, yeah.
Or an Irish one, I don't know.
Goomba.
I could probably say an Irish one. I think I'm part Irish.
Were you there when we talked about Goomba? Or was that with Sophia?
Whoa.
Because there was...
I can't remember who I talked about that one with.
Well, I've as you know, I grew up playing the Mario Brothers arcade cabinet. I stomped on many.
Oh yeah, you were stomping Goombas.
I was always stomping on Koopas.
I like that. Last week you said off air that you didn't want to reference the Mario movie.
God damn it!
And then you immediately did it in that same episode afterwards. You said you did it.
Hey, we didn't have to say what it was actually a reference to.
What do you mean?
It was a subtle thing. Lingers on this shot for a while. Were you singing along to the song for a second?
Oh, it's a classic. It's a classic.
Were you singing along to the song?
Oh, I was humming.
That doesn't... I mean, we're not... It's not like we're live watching this. We're just describing it.
I'm still humming. It's a classic.
We got a close-up of Bugs Bunny, and I honestly, I think this is the same art from the close-up shot of him before, where he's holding the gun. It's just edited. Let me just... I'm gonna cut between them to see. So it is the same shot, but it's colored in differently. The shade, it was the face has been reshaded, but a lot of the assets are the same, but the face has been reshaded. I just want to say before we describe what happens, I think the real Bugs Bunny, this is something that makes Alex's Bugs Bunny look so fucked up. I think the real Bugs Bunny, his mouth is connected to his nose. And Alex's Bug Bunny, Alex Bugs Bunny is never drawn like that. So he's sort of looking away, avoiding eye contact with Alec. But then he sees Alec handing something to him, and he looks down. We see the edge of it pop up at the bottom of the screen. It's traced like a drawing, but there's it's an actual picture of something with just a drawn outline around it. Cut back to the shot of Alec being looked down at by Bugs Bunny, and his hand is coming up holding a photorealistic VHS copy of Space Jam. Yes. Holy shit. Not Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Wasn't out yet.
That's true. It didn't exist yet. When did that come out? 2021?
Yeah, I mean, after we started this podcast is when it came out.
Yeah, huh. I didn't even think about that.
I was thinking
about that. Feels so long ago now.
I
love that it came full circle. We talked about Space Jam: A New Legacy so much, and it's here. Space Jam is here.
Yeah, but also,
holy shit!
It's interesting because those are connected because obviously we've had the themes of characters.
Come on, Popeye! Fingers crossed for Popeye. Come on out.
Characters have been removed from their original context and taken into this strange world of crossovers.
Well, that's
just
the
like
actual.
In space.
That's
just
the narrative.
I see.
Just
like in Space Jam 2: A New Legacy.
Oh shit! Alec is
Space Jam 1.
John Cheadle.
Yeah, he's the Algae River.
Do you think Space Jam: A New Legacy ripped off Mr. Poop?
Yeah, there was, Algae Rhythm was reading. You know
My-
what I love?
my
about-
favorite
One
part-
of my favorite.
Actually, didn't that kind of happen? Wait, no. Don
What-
Cheadle's
what-
character, did he have like an obsession with like a pop culture character or not? I think
No,
he
I
just
don't
had
think
an
he did.
obsession with LeBron James' son for
LeBron
some reason, which is
James.
much worse. I think him wanting to groom LeBron James' son is worse than wanting to marry Betty
whatever
Boop by
Alec-
far.
Yeah, no, but one of my favorite
Who?
scenes.
Yeah, that's
in-
actually a good question. Whose list of crimes is bigger, Alec Robbins or Algae Rhythm? I think at this
Well,
point in the real world,
against
the
decency.
Warner Brothers Algae Rhythm has committed many more crimes.
In the wait a second, which one of these characters exists in the real world? I
They
don't
both do,
really tell.
because Algae Rhythm
Algae
also.
R-
Yeah, Algae Rhythm
Algae
is
Rhythm's
canceling.
real?
Algae Rhythm just shut down
Oh.
Cartoon Network Studios.
It's a promotion. Yeah, well, it's a promotional stunt for that Pibby show or whatever. Do you remember when people were saying that?
Oh,
People were saying that all the shutdowns.
that's
are the
never
promotional
happening
stunt.
now.
That's
No,
not
I didn't
true.
realize
It's
that.
Not... Yeah. No,
I
but
didn't
my
realize
favorite
people were
scene-
saying that. That's
That's dumb.
people said that really.
But no, one of
I
my
thought you were
favorite
gonna say it's a
scenes in-
promotional stunt for
in-
Space Jam 3.
One of my favorite things
Spy Jam.
in Space Jam,
Skate Jam.
Spy Jam. Yeah, they just go back to the old ideas, like
Mask Jam.
Anyway, my favorite scene in Space Jam 2 is when the movie is pitched to LeBron James and then he rejects it. Like, you can do when he goes to Warner Brothers and then they try to pitch him an idea like, you can be in all of these crossover movies, you can be in a Batman. And he's like, now that sounds dumb.
I love
And he
how
leaves.
She-Hulk reused that.
Oh,
Yeah, as dumb as that was in Space Jam, She-Hulk was like, "Oh, we got to use that. We
that
have
was the
to
only
because
good part.
we have to because it's from the writers of Pickle Rick, which is classic
Pickle
Warner
Rick.
Brothers property. Classic
Yes.
Warner Brothers property, Pickle Rick. Pickle Rick should have showed up in Mr.
Space
Boop.
Jam. The significance of using Space Jam here, maybe I guess, is that it's a meme movie. It's a funny thing for Alec to be holding to say, "Hey, look, he's not holding any of the classic Warner Brothers shorts." Maybe this is the version of
No, I
Bug-
think it is because of you referenced Space Jam: A New Legacy, but I think it also can
Because
can
LeBron
relate.
is being taken.
I
out
think
of
it.
his world.
I think it can relate to the original Space Jam to a lesser extent, and I think that does have something to do with why it's Space Jam and not.
Yeah.
You know what it
I
should
also
have been?
Mhm.
Cartoon All Stars to the rescue.
Yes. No, but the
That's-
thing, this might also be the variation.
Should have been
of
holding
Bugs
up
Bunny.
a physical hard copy of Multiversus.
Alex said that lots of the characters he has used like have a personal connection to him, and perhaps, right, at least with Renma he said that. But I feel like maybe that's something with maybe this version of Bugs Bunny from Space Jam is the one that he liked. As
Do
a
we
kid,
know
and
when he was
like,
born?
"Wow."
Wait.
I-
Say what you were just saying again.
I don't. Do you think that Space Jam is the version of the film that he grew
that-
up with?
That he liked as a kid.
That he
I
liked
think
as a kid?
I think he was probably in art class one day watching Space Jam on a VHS in the corner, and the art teacher came up to him and said, "You can't be distracted by these Space Jam movies all the time, kid. You gotta get your head in the art game.
Space
got-
Jam movies.
You gotta
Yeah.
keep you can't be letting yourself get distracted by these Space Jam movies. You gotta focus on your
Yeah.
art career. This is your funny comic careers. This is what's really gonna get you success." And then Alec throws away the VHS copy of Space Jam in the trash, and the shot lingers over that, and fades to the logo Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Oh, nice, yes.
Yeah,
Very funny
at
shot.
Mr. Boop: A New Legacy. Sorry,
Very funny shot here. I think that
I guess.
honestly, I don't know.
Will you
this is
watch
hilarious.
Space Jam with me, please?
Could you please? It's like I don't know. I feel like the outside of everything we've just said about this, I think the fact that it's Space Jam is mostly for humor reasons. To be like, hey, it's Space
I think
Jam.
like a lot of things we reference, we discuss like this on the podcast is like a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Yeah, he's lazy, but it's also like it works for the thing. Yeah.
You're lazy, Robbins.
Why
You're
isn't it a laser
lazy.
disc though?
I guess because that would be bigger than his head, I assume.
He is quite small.
Yeah.
Let me look up if Space Jam is on Laserdisc.
Space Jam, a laser disc.
It is on Laserdisc.
Laser. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was 80s.
Well, 80s and 90s, yeah.
It is? Okay.
I don't know what the significance of Space Jam Laserdisc is. You have to enlighten me.
Laserdiscs are cooler.
That's true.
I was wondering, like, I mean,
high quality.
Yeah.
You got to
high
flip the sides.
fidelity. I don't know why they were keeping a Space Jam VHS in the basement at Quiznos.
For dramatic effect, I think.
I see. So he's lifting it up, handing it to Bugs Bunny. It's the. I just want to note the cover of it is like a pretty it's a photo. It's like it's not a scan.
Yeah.
Well, it's a photo of the cover of Space Jam on VHS. This is a photo of a Space Jam VHS tape, and then the back is like a very low quality pixelated scan, and it also looks like less like the shape of a VHS. I guess because it's just the paper, and the other was like a picture of the actual VHS.
I think that this finale. I mean, I talk a lot about the themes of the comics, but I think that this finale, mostly what it's trying to do is make people laugh. To send them out with a big, this is silly, and I'm having fun with how silly it's being. You know, like the fact that it's a shitty VHS. I don't know. It's the ultimate punchline, you know?
I will say, I didn't find it that funny. When I watched this for the first time, I was just like, what? Okay. I respected it. I was like, okay, this feels like the ending. Sure, this is the end. Like, I don't know how else you would end it. I don't know. I didn't really laugh. I was just like, okay, this is just, I guess, how it ends. I was like, it didn't feel funny to me. It felt like it was supposed to be like a grand closing.
Well,
it's like the funny elements are there, but they're more just like matter of fact. Like a lot of the funny elements in Mr. Boop are at this point, the fact that he's married to Betty Boop, it's not funny anymore. It's just like a matter of fact of the strip. And that's how any of the fun. That's how him even just holding up a Space Jam VHS feels at this point, to an extent.
Because of all of that holding up Space Jam VHSs he did throughout.
Well, because it's just so. It's just a silly world. It's like there's not no. I think there would have to be some emphasis on it being silly, of this being absurd, and it doesn't really feel absurd for Mr. Boop.
No, I don't know. I feel like what Mr. Boop does.
It feels more like a narrative thing than it does like a comedy thing to me. It doesn't feel like I get what you're saying, and I do think there is. I mean, it is meant to be humorous, but it feels more narrative than comedy to me.
I feel like the Space Jam VHS being a cutout and all of this is like.
I think that's more of an artistic like. I mean, think of the. I guess that was a drawing, wasn't it? I was gonna say the Betty Boop DVD in the game. I guess that was a drawing, wasn't it?
But it does these things. I feel like to me they remind me that it's silly and it's funny.
But it's not like the scan of his desktop was humorous.
No, but I feel like
this is just a scan of the VHS.
It's space.
Was he gonna draw it? Like,
scan.
I feel like the fact that it's a real world scan also works more for the narrative than it does for comedy. This is one of our classic being Mr. Boop arguments for those tuning in for the first time, where I'm arguing if it's more if we're arguing whether it's funny or not. And of course, Lisa loves it and thinks it's the funniest thing on earth. And I think, yeah, it's all right, but I don't know if it's really particularly humorous.
Well, yeah, but the interesting thing is usually when we have this debate, it's usually the reverse.
No, it's not.
What? No. Wait, hear me out. Because I'm usually arguing towards him making narrative decisions to make a point, and you're saying, I was just trying to be funny, But now you're saying, it's for a narrative purposes. I'm like, well, it's a joke. No, I think this is specifically a joke.
I guess we fluctuate back and forth, but somehow it's always that you are on the side of...
I think the Mr. Boop is a funny strip.
You are always like in the defense position, and I'm always kind of in the attack position. Not because I don't have anything against it, but it's funny that we fluctuate the art, like who is on which side, but of the argument in terms of like what we are arguing. But it's the fact that I am on the defensive and you are on the. I mean, the fact that I am on the attack and you are the defensive is constant, despite us swapping positions. Yeah, that's an interesting.
Well, I think it changed. I think I do.
Welcome to being Mr. Boop.
I like I like Mr. Boop, and I like the elements of Mr. Boop, and I think
I like Mr. Boop too.
What I understand,
but I don't love it, and I think you love it.
I didn't love it when we started this podcast. Is what I'll
Interesting.
Say. But I've like.
When did the change happen?
Like,
I think you might have Stockholm syndrome, Lisa.
At the start of book 4, I really
what?
got into
That
it.
is not true. You have always been on the defense.
Book 3.
You have always been on the defense of this. You from the beginning, you were like, "This is a very funny thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." Like that's been the case from day one. Day one.
It's a funny concept. What are you?
We're hashing it out. This is the reason. This is the last episode. Is because we're fucking fighting.
I'm the. Nah,
we're
I think
fine.
I'll be leaving the podcast now.
Huh?
I think right now. I think I'll be leaving the podcast.
I think I'll leave the podcast. Huh? Is that what you're saying?
It's a reference to Get Back when George leaves. He's like, I think I'll be leaving the band now.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, when? And
Get
he says,
Boop.
now. Yeah, get Boop.
Get Boop to where he wants to belong.
Yes.
Oh, remember in that classic Being Mr. Boop episode where we came up with the slang guide on the spot? Oh my god, it's magical to listen to. It's magical to listen to when we came up with the slang guide on the spot, and it's like how do we do it? How do we do it? It's like it just came out of nowhere. It's like we just manifested it.
And they just like it stole our lives. We that was when we made the Devil's Pact.
I can't wait for the Being Mr. Boop docuseries called Electro Points.
Get Boop. Oh, Electro Points bracket lies, sins, and murder.
No, it's just gonna be called Electro Point / Electro Trial Bang / Electoral Heart Trobubble / Electries / etc. Or should I say Electra? Oh god.
Brackets. See the slang guide.
It's just gonna be called the title is going to be inferred. Like the title is in brackets. Check the slang guide, but because the slang guide is the title, but the title of the docuseries isn't See the Slang Guide. It's the title is the entire slang guide, but you have to see the slang guide to see what the title is. Exactly.
There is a band whose name is literally it's pronounced and I'm like, how the fuck
okay?
like it's spelled asterisk. It's spelled with an asterisk, but it's apparently pronounced. Haven't heard about them since COVID. Haven't heard from them since COVID.
I remember an old stand-up bit of a guy. I always think of this because I was like, are there people whose names are really like this? It was a stand-up bit where a guy was like talking to like, this. I don't know if this is not an actual naming convention people have. Then this is just in a really offensive bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
he said there was a guy whose name was like spelled exclamation. Sorry, his name was spelled Electropoint Bile or something, and he's like, what? How do you? He's like, my name is Bile. And it's like, is that a real? Are people named like that?
Oh yeah, no. It's I heard about a band that's name was like.
Can we have this episode be longer than the rest of all the episodes combined?
Oh, then all of the other episodes combined.
Yeah.
You want this to be 50% of the podcast?
Yeah. No. I want it to be 51% of the podcast.
Wow.
Also, okay, we can settle for 50.1% of the podcast.
How about 15?
15% of the podcast? No. I'm just saying we're only a minute in to this. We're only we're about 20% through.
We're bringing back our classic segue.
I know it's great. No, I think it's great that we're bringing back a lot of the old topics and stuff. I would mention Mr. Bean and Billy Zane, but that's strictly bonus stuff, so we're not allowed to. We're contractually obligated.
Again, see you in Mr. Book 4, I guess.
Huh?
See Billy Zane and Mr. Boop and Mr.
Oh
Bean.
yeah, in the book one. Yeah.
Mm.
But we're not allowed to. So yeah.
No.
Should we continue now?
Yeah, keep going. I don't know what we got so distracted on.
Because we're having fun.
No, I'm not.
Well, you. That's because we're fading out of existence, so that's not fun. But I think that's why we're talking so much is because these are our last words. And we're hosting a podcast. Bugs looks shocked, by the way. He looks completely shocked, and his pupils are dilated as he's staring at this VHS. He has no idea what this is.
Or perhaps he's
suddenly remembering. Maybe
he's remembering.
Yeah. We get a brief glimpse of his hands going up to his face and his mouth wobbling and tears exploding out of his eyes, like he just explodes into tears. And then we immediately cut to a zooming in shot of Bugs and Alec embracing. I don't know where the VHS went; it's just gone. But Bugs leans down on his knees and wraps his arms around Alec, and Alec wraps his arms around Bugs, and their eyes are closed. They're in tears, and Bugs is sobbing, and Alec is just still like smiling gently.
It's beautiful.
It fades to a much closer shot of the same drawing.
For real. I'm getting a little emotional over here. I don't know why.
Yeah. I feel like I'm describing a lot. I'm taking a lot of the words out of your mouth. So why don't you say what's going on here?
What? Well, Alec is looking over at something. He's opened his eyes for it whilst mid hug, and he's looking over at something on the left. I mean, what could it be? I don't know. I presume it's
something.
His wife, Betty Boop. Oh, and I call this slide guitar bit was on the cue, similarly to
in the song.
How this yes, similarly to how all the stuff starts at that slide guitar in Evangelion. All the weird stuff.
You mean the whole movie?
No, but the specific. I'm
all the weird stuff from Evangelion.
I'm using vague. I'm using vague.
You don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil how.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when it gets especially freaky,
I would spoil it, but I honestly could not tell you what happened.
You couldn't tell me.
I wanted to make a joke where it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't want to spoil that, and then I say what happens, and then I just bleep it in post. But I honestly could.
Dies.
Whoa! I honestly could not tell you what happened. I have a vague idea, but I don't understand it. Like I could kind of explain what I think happened, but I don't know why
What
or
do you
what
think
the fuck.
what do you think the emotional themes were? What message was it trying to convey?
I know that the last 2 episodes talked a lot about depression.
Yes.
And I was watching the last episode in a restaurant in a diner.
You just started crying.
In a diner yesterday. No, I didn't start crying, but I was like, huh, because they're talking about one of the characters is like talking about not wanting to exist or whatever, and whatever, and I was just like, oh man, this is hitting a little close.
I love what she's having.
But I also did not relate to it because the way he was. I feel like Shinji is always like much more whiny and pathetic about it. like
what a loser!
What a loser! No, but he I don't know. Remember what it was?
Have you seen Trump Explains Evangelion? That's
no, I haven't. That sounds kind of funny.
Oh,
I don't like Trump humor, but that actually sounds kind of funny.
I was just quoting that. Where he said, "There's this guy Shinji. What a loser!"
I don't remember what the exact point was, but it was like, I don't know. It was like he wanted to run away or what? Something I don't relate to with. I don't want to get too personal in the Mr. Boop finale, but something I don't relate to about which is why I don't feel like I have depression is because people a lot. I mean, often with depression, people it's like, oh, you can't. You just feel like you don't want to do anything. You don't want to eat. You just want to it's lay in bed. I don't know. And it's like, I feel like if I just didn't do anything, I would just be in a worse situation. So it doesn't really. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too logical.
You got something going on.
I'm just too logical to have depression.
That's
That's what it is.
Too logical.
Yeah, that's my next daily sweet talk. Depression. And then I'm just like, you have to have a pretty high IQ to not have depression.
No, but yeah, I think. Well, I mean, what I got from End of Evangelion.
You didn't watch the last 2 episodes.
No, I didn't. I didn't even watch most of the show.
Oh, that's right. But you got the recap. But they talk a lot more about like the outcome of like what it means. I mean, what or what I don't know what that even does. I think.
Well, no, but the message I got from the film was that like we should.
What?
Still care about the people around us, but also put your own needs at a level slightly above that.
I don't understand the relationships of the characters in Evangelion even, so it's difficult for me to like get any sort of message out of like their relationships with each other because I don't understand. Like, the relationships in Evangelion are all so weird. Like, so it's hard for me to get anything out of... We're talking a lot about Evangelion, which we're not supposed to.
I feel like the movie, at least to me, in like the visual cues, spelled out that it was about like caring for your fellow man and stuff like that. But also, I guess a lot of the show is about like trying too hard to care for your fellow man, right? That's the impression I got, and to the point where it hurts yourself.
Because you're in a giant.
Shinji doesn't believe in his own needs.
How does that relate to this? Like, he's all for himself.
How does this relate to Mr. Boop?
Yeah, like he's not helping anyone. He's only helping himself.
We didn't even start talking about Evangelion in relation to Mr. Boop.
No, I know, but like I'm talking about that now. Like why Evangelion? Because it feels like the themes of Mr. Boop are have nothing to do with the themes of Evangelion at all. Like I was maybe thinking that maybe there were like some relations themes, and it's like no, there's not really at all, is there? It's just like this is just a thing he likes. He just was
Yeah,
like,
I
this
think
is
it's-
this is God, Alec Robbins is the biggest fucking weeb, isn't he?
He's well, yeah, obviously. I mean, I think he's just
Betty Boop is my favorite anime.
He's taking visual cues from Evangelion, but not particularly the emotional themes. You know, he did the Getty, which is similar to lots of the Ray stuff, I think. In that.
Here's something I'll say. Classic Betty.
Evangelion, here we come.
Took me a second. Oh my god. That little moment there that we just had in about a year, less than a year probably, or about a year, that will not make any sense whatsoever. That will have zero context and zero. There will be zero way of finding any context for what that is. Like, it will just be a complete, like,
For what?
you don't, for that little moment we just had. That little laugh we just shared, like, no one will understand that in a year.
About the Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
There we go.
What? Oh.
Now they'll
Okay.
understand.
Now
I kind of think
people-
it'd be funnier.
I'm saying with the same inflection.
No,
Everyone-
you didn't. It was funnier that you didn't, but I also think it was
Okay.
funnier if there was no way of knowing what that could,
Why it was so funny.
like why
True,
saying "here we
true.
come" is funny. Like, that's just a normal thing to say. Why is that funny?
I think people would get it.
Huh?
Listeners.
In a year? I don't think
Uh,
so. I think it'd be done by then.
People
I think
still
you
remember
I think
movie
they
trailers
you
from a year ago.
okay, a little more than maybe a year or two. I don't know. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Anyway,
I mean, we all remember the Dr. Michael Morbius at your service quote, right?
I guess it depends how many times they're gonna play that Mario trailer in theaters then, because that was the reason that one was like,
Wasn't even in the movie.
oh my
Wasn't
god,
even
was
in
it
the
not?
movie.
Oh, that's right, it wasn't.
Betty appears.
Oh, what I was going to say is, classic Betty Boop Neon Genesis Evangelion does not hold a candle to classic Betty Boop Fleischer Studios cartoons.
Wow. I've heard people say that End of Evangelion the movie is a metaphor about making Evangelion the TV show. And I haven't done any reading into that because I've not seen the show. But I'm like,
What is this, being Mr. Evangelion?
Yeah, well, okay. I also found out that
I think
when I
this video is a metaphor for making the strip
Boop.
Mr. Boop.
That's true.
That's not even a metaphor. It's just it's plain in the text. It's
Yeah, we can
literally
see him do it.
in a metafictional level or whatever the fuck, I don't know. So we see a shot of Betty standing in a doorway. The doorway is not the door frame, and there's a door, so doorway. The door is not, and door frame is not colored in at all. Only Betty. Only Betty is
Only
colored
Betty.
in. This is still like a recreation
So
of
doing,
Strip
like-
215, but the things
Yeah.
that just happened with the Space
He's
Jam VHS and the Embracing.
He's rewriting. Yeah. He's rewriting history.
I suppose it's
his
like
own work. Yeah.
it's oh fuck. What did I just watch that was like this? Oh, nothing.
See,
I can't say.
I
It's
also wanna-
spoilers. But we were talking about it right before we started recording.
Huh.
Do you understand what it was?
No, I don't know.
The show we were talking about right before we started recording that I said was really bad.
Oh yeah, of course. How could I
That's what
forget?
this reminds. That's what this reminds me of. This is. I can't believe Mr. Boop is ending the same way.
Yes.
Listeners, you will have no idea. I'll just give a little hint of context. Is that it ended the day before we recorded this. But if you look up what it was, it'll spoil it for you. But also, it doesn't matter. It's not good. But anyway,
Wow. Betty is doing a Wallace from Wallace and Gromit cheese pose.
Her hands are kind of doing that pose, yeah. And she got tears in her eyes, and she looks.
Yeah, but that's less important.
Yeah, that's true. And she looks not shocked, but like stunned, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Emotional. She's been moved
Stunned
by what she sees in front of
her. Dress is out a lot. Her dress is the sides of her dress are sticking out a lot, which is just how it looks.
Reminiscent of, I don't know when.
But it's very wide.
In the comic was at what point in the comic did he draw her dress like this? I feel like there was a specific era where this happened.
I think it's fluctuated.
I didn't do any research.
We never do. I think it's fluctuated.
That's possible.
Anyway, she kind of like floats through the doorway. Not really, but it's like we're zooming in on her, but the doorway's stationary in frame, but she's like we're zooming into her
spotlight.
Yeah, and the doorway kind of fades out as a big spotlight fades in on in the center of the frame where she is. And we cut to a shot where she is on the right, standing in a beam of light that's also coming from like the top right. As Alec approaches from stage left, he's walking towards her. Like he's drawn in a walking stance. But there's no walk cycle. He's just kind of sliding forward while in a walk pose. And he's looking sadly at her with tears in his eyes. She's like kind of arms half outstretched in front of her with tears in her eyes. They both look sad.
Mm-hmm. We
cut to close up of Betty, tears in her eyes. This is an extreme close up. It's zooming in on her as a hand reaches up and wipes a tear from her eye. And we cut to a shot of Betty and Alec. Betty on the left. Alec on the left, Betty on the right. Close up of both of them. It was Alec's hand on her face. She doesn't have tears in her eyes anymore, but he still does. And she's grinning at him. He's smiling at her.
Alec really does love his wife, Betty Boop. Loves her enough to let her float away.
Yeah, she starts floating up and back into, I don't know. We cut to a shot of Alec, like, crouched on the ground.
Crouched beneath
not
his
crouched.
wife,
what would you call this? Crouched?
On his knees. Oh, what Betty's doing?
No, he's like fallen onto his knees. Yeah, and he was just standing and
crucified.
Somehow, like almost eye level with her, despite their height difference. I don't know how that works, but he was just like
it's dramatic impact.
Yeah, he was standing right next to her, and as she rises up, we don't see him fall on his knees, but we just see now that he has fallen onto his knees.
You know what? I'm just gonna.
We see him from behind. Yeah.
Christianity got the coolest fucking imagery. I'll tell you what.
Christianity.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. This is
Betty.
We are not. Yeah, Betty is what?
Betty is in a crucifix pose.
She's T-posing.
Yes, she's T.
But
this shot looks
her
so
eyes
fucking
are closed
cool to me.
And she's like dead. I don't know. Her eyes are closed. She's as she's risen up. She has risen.
Sacrifice for our sins.
Amen. Yeah, that's coming. Yeah. Worth noting, the separating line of her hair that's always there was accidentally. I would say definitely accidentally. Made transparent, so it's blue like the background. But there's also a shadow underneath her to show she's like floating up in the sky. Also, it turns white. The blue background fades to white, like the regular Mr. Boop color scheme. So as she's rising into the air,
the countless arms of your godwife appear, whatever the quote was.
What?
These are the exact same Bettys that appear in that late book.
Well, I am the exact same.
Yes.
Showrunner.
She says it's a quote, right? It's from the thing. He's
from the thing.
She says it about She says it a bunch. It's like, "Come, Alec, come to the arms of your eternal godwives," or whatever.
I don't remember that. But these aren't eternal arms. Oh.
Yeah.
These are just there's a bunch of like mini Getty gremlins around her in the air. Also, it's yellow now. The background has turned yellow.
Yeah.
It's fading to like a piss,
really
like a
doing
piss
up
yellow
the religious imagery.
or a puke yellow. And we get a close up of her left arm.
Yeah.
As we see cracks form all around her. Not just on her skin, but on her dress, and her earrings and bracelet too, and her hair.
The shell of Betty Boop is cracking to reveal.
Yes.
Someone in a
little dog hand.
Ooh, it's originally a dog.
Oh shit! It does look like a dog hand though.
But no, this
Doesn't
is
it?
clearly.
Look at that. Because look at the nails. I know it's supposed to be an angle, but they like look like little dog nails. It's supposed to be like. We went from this like real cartoony hand to him trying to draw more of a realistic hand, so that's why it didn't come out necessarily as well. Because he had to draw, he tried to add a lot of details, but that just makes it look really wrinkly and gross in this style. Not a criticism. I mean, man, that's just how it happens. Sure. So this is interesting. This is interesting because, yeah, we see it's a woman in a tank top. Obviously, Liz.
Famously worn by Liz.
Yeah, this is. We can see some of the hair. Like this is Liz's hair. So it's cracked to reveal Liz. But now we see a close up of Betty's head again, and it's Betty again. I guess we're seeing the same thing happen from different angles, and it's replaying it from different angles. So now we're seeing the top of her the top of her crack to reveal Liz beneath, and it's a close up of Liz, and she's still floating into the air. And
now Liz is Jesus.
Yeah, and she's huge.
It cuts back to the
we cuts back to Alec kneeling on the ground. Kneeling. That's what I meant to. That's the word I was looking for. Kneeling on the ground in front of her, and she's bigger than him, but much bigger. Like the size difference is even bigger than Betty usually is to Alec. Like she's growing gigantic.
This is very end of Evangelion-esque, right? You know, with giant.
You think so?
Idolized woman, giant idolized girl.
You know, I wasn't really getting any end of Evangelion vibes from this, but now that you mention it, I think this is kind of reminiscent of that.
Of that scene that's set to this music.
Oh my god, this is the song from End of Evangelion too. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. He's taking a lot of inspiration, isn't he?
It might be a coincidence.
He's just used the song in a reference to that same scene that also has this song.
It's just, you know, he's a fan of the song. It's like how you said, didn't you say Sophia was a fan of the song because she heard it in Mr. Boop?
Yeah, but she knew it was from End of Evangelion. Speaking of that,
she heard it in Mr. Boop, so she likes the song because it was in Mr. Boop. Maybe that was similar to how Alec found it. He heard it in Mr. Boop, so he wanted to use it in Mr. Boop.
Me and Sophia actually made a version of this outro where we a finale video where we removed the music and replaced it with "Don't Get Too Close to My Fantasy," which is.
I thought you were going to say yakety sax.
Yeah, that's true. That's also correct. Which I think it works. You know, we talked about it in earlier episodes how that song's theme sort of.
I think
connect
when
to
we finish watching
vaguely.
through this, we should watch it on double speed with yakety sax playing in the background, and see how that
sounds fun.
seems, how
Dark
it's
Side
different.
Of the Moon.
Yes, Dark
No,
Side
but
of
you
the
know,
Moon.
it's-
Yes.
But it's fantasy, too close. Ween. Next clip.
Mr. Ween.
Yes, being Mr. Ween.
No, I don't want. No.
No, there's. I once said someone, "Hey, has anyone made a Ween podcast called The Pod?" And they said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Damn it."
Oh yeah, Lisa was saying earlier. I'm speaking to the audience now. We don't do that a lot.
We don't acknowledge them.
Well,
we don't-
we do, but not usually. We don't usually stop talking to each other to talk to the audience, which is what I'm doing now.
We don't try to make it listenable.
Hey,
to
first
the
time for
audience either.
everything.
And a laugh.
Listeners, Lisa was telling me earlier her favorite Ween album is The Pod, and I was like, well, of course. And she's like, yeah, because it's a good album. And I'm like, no, because you're obsessed
What?
with podcasts.
All right, you got me with it twice. You got me.
You're always listening to podcasts and being on podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Liz.
Let me explain to you why The Pod is a perfect album.
No,
it's
Liz
not
is
perfect.
floating into the
Strap on
air.
that jammy pack is bad.
Still, we cut to a shot in a blue void, not the same shade of blue. This is more like a.
Yeah, Ralph's. Like Ralph Records.
I'm talking about the color.
Okay.
The shade of blue.
It
Periwinkle.
wasn't colored originally,
Periwinkle.
The colors were just in the reprint.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, this is what is it? What are we seeing here?
This
Where's
is
the
a-
shot?
This is a establishing shot of the
It's
exterior.
the flapper
of-
shot.
It's a
Not really.
What?
It's not
It's
the.
not a flapper.
It's the
Of
Ralpher
a-
shot,
of a store called Ralph's,
which
It's
is a real grocery chain.
which has a pharmacy. Also has a pharmacy.
Yeah, there's a little pharmacy sign.
When has it? When?
I think
when
what
has
he
Mr.
do you
Boop
think
been
he,
to a pharmacy? When has Mr. Boop been to a grocery store?
you were gonna say when he's been to a pharmacy, but he hasn't. He's
No,
been to a grocery
no.
store, and maybe it had a pharmacy. Yeah, he was at a grocery store when he met Liz. Maybe that means this really happened. I don't know. I'm not sure
It
why they're
happened at
showing
Ralph's.
this right now. Do you think he was looking at a
Perhaps.
picture of a real Ralph's?
Did you find?
No,
a
he
real
was
picture?
definitely
Did you
looking
find
at a
reference?
He was definitely
Yeah,
looking
this
at a
is-
picture of a
This
Ralph's.
is obviously a real photo.
Yes.
He's-
What I
taking
meant to
photos
ask
from.
was, do you think he traced the picture of Ralph's?
I think he traced the outlines, and then
Hmm.
went in with the
So-
details.
A little bit of
So-
both.
Yeah,
I cannot find the
The right way
specific
to do it.
picture.
I
Maybe
think
he took the picture.
some liberties.
Yeah, maybe he took. Well, I was gonna say maybe he took the picture himself.
Look up Ralph's California.
That okay? That's probably like more where they're based. I would imagine. Grocery store chains are usually not like common across the country, aside from like Walmart.
Huh.
As far as I can tell, like when it's like, oh yeah, I shop at Ralph's. It's like I've never seen that chain before. I shop at Stop and Shop, and I bet people on the other side of the country are like, what is that? So that's just kind of how grocery chains are here. We don't have Sainsbury's. We don't
Oh, you're
have
missing out.
I was gonna say Aldi,
Tesco's.
but I think Aldi, first of all,
You
is
might
not
have Aldi.
is not a British chain. Is it? It might be. It's not. No, it's not. But also Aldi is like is across the country actually. And
How about Tesco? Asda.
we don't have Asda, we don't have Tesco, we don't have Sainsbury's.
Those are the three.
Yeah, those are the three. I know because of the
Crime
Weeble
Hut?
song, Grandma's Cheese. What did you say? Crime Hut?
No, Primark. It's a clothing chain.
I love him. Yes.
Crime Hut.
My favorite Alec Robbins comic, Prime Mart.
Okay.
But Trader Joe's. and Whole Foods. Those are the other ones that are across the
Do you
country
think
as
the
well.
fact that he's using a real life store here is the
Well, I think
indicative of anything?
Did we see that it was Ralph's before, or is it just a
I don't
grocery
think we
store?
I don't think we saw it was Ralph's.
I think it's just because it was like the quote unquote real world. I think that's why it's a real grocery store. Because I feel like other real stuff was probably mentioned at that point as well, and there wasn't as much real stuff referenced before that. Unless Goku and Mickey Mouse ran into each other at Ralph's as well. We can never know.
Wow.
That was also a grocery store.
Next bit. Play the video.
The music's kind of switching up. It's doing that.
Now we cut to- Yes, as all the weird shit starts happening.
Hey,
Wow. There is a
big.
there is a
That's a different
there is a
song.
there is a giant naked 14-year-old in the
In the deli aisle.
shot. Yes. She's like mutating and shit.
Steve, to aisle 3. There's a giant UK. There's a giant naked 14-year-old in aisle 3. Please report to aisle 3.
Yeah. Okay, we see this is identical to the what's it called, strip.
Yes,
whatever
we've cut to a new shot. We don't see the blue void at all because we're just fully in the grocery store now.
Yes, we're back to one of the
bread aisle. It's not the bread.
we were in.
It's
how
not.
could we forget?
It's not the bread aisle.
How could we forget? What strip
He's
number?
shopping
this
for
is
Wonder
exactly
Bread.
from 169. This is panel 1 of 169.
Is it? It's identical to that.
Yeah, it's identical. Well, I mean, it's expanded upon.
Is it the
Which
same? It's
I
not the
think it's
same
a
art,
redraw.
is it? It's a redraw. I see.
But it's meant to. You're meant to see.
But
it
it
like,
is the same
from
scene. His
169.
cart is still full. He's got the stuff underneath.
Mhm.
And you say it's expanded, which is true, but the background is like
It's
looped.
repeated.
Yeah, it's reversed and
Yes.
looped, like in a very obvious way because like
Like how stores are.
yeah, maybe in the UK. But some of the
wearing
items
a
are because the background is like mirrored and looped, so
Mhm.
some of the items are like kind of meshed into one when it actually
Yes.
interestingly
This has got a little
in
more
terms
detail
of art
on it.
what we find interesting, so I'll use interesting in a loose.
Mm-hmm.
The loop is not consistent, I would say. Nope, never mind. It is. It's just that one end. Never mind. I was gonna say,
Okay.
yeah, one end meshes with in a weird way, but then the other end does not as much of an obvious. Never mind. It's
Next bit.
You see, you know what I'm saying though, like
Yeah.
the flower, these two flowers because of the edge merge into
Flowers?
one. Bags of flour.
Oh, right.
And then on the other end of it, where it
Mhm.
mirrors, they
Yeah.
aren't, so it doesn't. But I thought it was like
Mhm.
a different. Yeah, all right. It's not very clear what
Okay.
I was saying. I think he's also in a walking pose and going through. This is
Mhm.
why it's looped because he's going through. It's not just like a static
Yeah.
background.
Now we cut to Liz.
Yeah, Liz also pushing her shopping cart, which is empty. This is how it happened. We know. Same background.
But this isn't a shot we've seen before. This isn't.
So
this
they're
isn't
in the
a
same
shot.
aisle.
Yeah, we haven't. We didn't see this before though.
Oh,
We didn't see this exact.
yeah,
shot of
it's
Liz.
basically like the same sort of shot. It's the reverse.
This
shot.
is right before they. This is right before they.
Right
in the
before they have a
original- in
head-on
170,
collision.
They, yeah. Ow. And
Right before they have
endurance information.
a head-on collision with some bread in the kitchen. Do they actually? Yep. No, they don't collide. Their carriage actually did. Oh wait, they don't collide here. They walk right past each other. The carriages go right past each other. Do they collide originally?
Yes, they collide originally.
So their carriages do collide originally, which doesn't happen.
Now I got a
here.
theory. I've got a theory, right? Between
Me too. I think this
yeah,
is
between Boops
the last
between
being the last Mr. Boop. Sorry, go on.
between strips 168 and 169, fictional author Alec, Mr. Misfit, genuinely wanted to try and make a book about his a daily strip about his life, right? But then he saw Liz. He walked past Liz, and he thought, you know what? Imagine if I married her. I could just
What
tell
could have
people.
been?
I could just tell her, and then that's when it started spiraling from. But this is showing what
the
really
weird
happened.
thing about that
and
is
they
that
just
Liz
walked
had already
past each
appeared
other.
before then.
True. Maybe he just saw someone who he thought looked like that woman he did, and was like, "Oh."
But Liz appeared at the end of what, book 2, volume 2?
Yeah,
She
but he
appeared at the end of volume 2.
Mm.
So
But perhaps he, yeah.
perhaps what?
I suppose that's. Let's just say for a second that those appearances are in the fictional author's reality. Anyway, I'm saying that 170 immediately when they collide is when the fictional author's reality stops being the fictional author's and is his fiction.
Well, I have to say that it's very insightful of you, Lisa. And I definitely heard everything you said, and the connection was very good, and I got every word of that.
Okay.
So let's continue and see what's happening. They're walking past each other in the aisle. Close-up shot.
Maybe she didn't
of,
even recognize him.
Maybe she didn't even recognize him in real life.
Well, I mean,
she's real.
Probably didn't. Probably, yeah. Well, okay.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. Honestly.
Bringing back that bit. Bringing back.
I think we've examined that enough.
Mm-hmm. I feel this bit is really sad to me. I don't know. Alec
Why?
isn't. I don't know. I want Alec to be happy, even though he's a weird creep. I don't know. The fact that they never even interacted.
You want the fictional Alec to be happy?
Yeah. The fictional author Alec. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Not
know.
the real Alec. Fuck that guy.
Everything that happened. It's sort of saying like everything that's happened in the last strip didn't happen, right?
I'm talking about
Last book
topmost Alec.
Ah, wow. I'm sure he's happy. He made great art. No, but clearly, like, it's saying none of this happened.
I mean, if you're talking about Heartbreak High, yeah.
Not saying it wasn't important. It was like the fact that it didn't happen is what makes it so heartbreaking, because it was important.
Oh,
Alec,
heartbreak.
It's heartbreak.
Clearly a callback to his earlier work.
Yes, because of movie trivia. Heartbreak is a reference to what I'm feeling right now. My connection bugged out there, didn't it?
Bug dive?
I think it did. Yes.
So it's a close up it's a close up now of Liz still walking through the grocery aisle. Sorry if you can hear me fiddling with some candy here. I mean, I am Candyman 106, so what are you gonna do?
Alec. Yeah, he's letting go of his creation. Of his lies. He's saying, he's letting Liz walk past him and showing us all that Liz walked past him. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a cut to close up of Liz, and it's the same image as before. It's just zoomed in, and showing us she's moving by, making sure that we see that it's her.
Close up. Now.
Yeah.
Same shot, but close up, and Alec as well. Close up of him.
Yeah. And he's looking
cut back to him. Yeah, he looks back with tears in his eyes.
Yeah, he begins to sob.
But subtly. Like tears form in his eyes subtly.
Now
hard
we cut to
the title screen for Sonic the Hedgehog. For Sega. Sega, what, Genesis?
Yeah, Genesis. Or Mega Drive, as we say in the UK.
No one cares what you say in the UK.
Okay, and Sonic the Hedgehog appears out of
Hey, you see this logo? That's the Stars and Stripes, baby. Sonic is all American. We call it the Genesis, because this is the Genesis of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, that's why they called it the Genesis.
Hey, I thought you said you liked the Christian imagery.
Whoa, you bet I do. Sonic the Hedgehog is full of it.
Yeah. He pops up. It's exactly the title screen of Sonic the
yeah,
Hedgehog, where he pops up and
exactly.
waves his finger. Very low res, though, actually. This is a pretty low res clip.
Yes.
Then again, hard cut to literally the very beginning of the Family Guy theme song with Lois playing at the piano
version.
and Peter. Yeah, it's the newer version. It actually wasn't the very beginning because I think we would see Lois sit down. I think so. We see Lois already sat down, but yeah, they're reunited.
They're reunited in. So he's like, I feel like when I saw this, I was like, what the fuck is this telling me narratively or in
this?
subtext?
I think was one of the
'Cause
few parts I did think was genuinely very funny.
So I
the
guess
hard
what this
cut
represents to me
from
is
Sonic the Hedgehog to the Family Guy theme song. We're watching in 1080p, and these are not 1080p clips of these, by the way. Which I feel like takes that out of it a little bit, but it's like whatever. I mean, it's it's an independent comic strip. I think that it kind of lends these low quality clips kind of lend to the very homemade nature of this comic strip and the unofficialness.
Exactly.
So I guess there's that. I don't think it was necessarily I don't think it was necessarily a conscious choice. I think it was just like downloading whatever.
Do you think that Alec Robbins got the rights?
No, definitely not. Not at all. No,
definitely. That's
absolutely
what makes
not.
Yeah, bringing back the
this is owned by Disney. I think it was already owned by Disney at this point.
Narratively, he's letting go of his creation and letting the characters return to their original status.
Oh,
but it's
just like at the end of
right?
Space Jam: A New Legacy.
It feels like it feels like they've been returned, right? They're being freed to their own reality, but they were never taken from that reality.
They were taken before. They were taken
Guy...
before the comic began.
No, but Family Guy didn't stop airing because Peter Griffin was in Sonic.
It's symbolic,
Mr. Boo, you know.
Yeah,
I know it's symbolic.
No, but it's like it's a gesture of it's
symbolizing him letting him go.
It's sort of a gesture, yes, but I also kind of see it as a gesture towards the copyright owners. Like, you won, here you go, or not even you won, but you
won. I'm using.
No,
your
not
clips.
even you won, but like, not. I'm using your clips, but like
these are yours.
Yes, I have returned. I returned this to you.
Free you.
Sort of like imagine imagine someone like had printed out like a picture of the Mona Lisa and was worshiping it, and was like obsessed with it, and then worked through it and realized became less obsessed with it, and was like, and like as a symbol of letting go, brought the printout of the Mona Lisa to the Louvre. Where is the Mona Lisa? And they're like, here you go, you can have it back. And they're like, what are you talking about? What? We have this is not the painting. It's like, no, shh, I know. Here you go. It's yours. It's yours, my friend.
You what? You know what I've never noticed about this? I assume that Family Guy operates under a floating timeline, similarly to Simpsons, right?
On a what?
A floating timeline.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But Why is Peter
Griffin dressed like the 70s in his wedding photo?
Oh, well, they don't explore that old stuff as much. And when they do, it's even more, it's more just like what time do they want to explore, I think. And even then, I think it is usually more consistent than The Simpsons is. Like, The Simpsons makes a point to keep doing these flashback episodes and keep bringing the timeline forward as they do that. Whereas Family Guy just has a few of them, and I feel like it's more consistent in the few times they've done it. But also, characters do age in Family Guy like more than on The Simpsons. All the characters age stay pretty consistent, but like with Family Guy, it's like Peanuts style, where there will be a child character, and then there will be like a baby, and then they grow up to be like Stewie's age, and then they just remain Stewie's age.
Someone pointed out, I think maybe this was a Facebook post, that it's interesting. The only characters that age on The Simpsons are the fake celebrity characters.
Oh my god!
Like Raina Wolfcastle and Drederick Tatum. Like in the new seasons, they're all like parodying current day versions of those characters, of those people, and they're elderly. And it's like, wow, they're stuck aging. But also, Homer's age changed as well because the writers didn't want to be older than him, so they kind of made him older as it went on. But after a certain point, they're like, oh, we can't make Homer 50.
Homer's just 70 years old now. How old would Homer be right now?
If he was, I don't know. It's difficult to tell. Old.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about like the actual celebrity cameos. Like,
I mean, I assume they.
Well, yeah, they aged. Imagine if like, I don't know, who's a celebrity they had early on.
Michael Jackson.
Well, no, I mean,
I can't think of it.
Really count.
Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was.
I can't remember that, but sure. Imagine Magic Johnson now. If they have Magic Johnson back on, it's because it's the Simpsons world. It's like he's the age he was on that, because it's like. Because it'd be weird if he came back and it's like now Magic Johnson is much older. It's like, wait, but we haven't aged today, and you are older now. What? I did not realize that about the parody characters though. Like, what, Rainier Wolfcastle is like older now?
Yeah. Or at least he's parodying.
I know there was the one episode where he was like selling a bunch of stuff, but I assumed he was still starring in like McBain movies and stuff. I didn't think he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They haven't done
Expendables.
they haven't done they stopped doing Raina Wolfcastle. I mean, McBain episodes pretty early on because of some copyright problem with his name.
Oh, well, but okay, but like he's still like movie guy. What was the other one? Was it the Mike Tyson?
Yeah, Drederick Tatum.
But
he's the most obvious one because you see current episodes with him, and he's like actually an old guy.
That's not what I've seen. I've seen, well, first of all, when he originally was a character on The Simpsons, like Mike Tyson, I think was already past that part of his career. And now when you see that character pop up on The Simpsons, it's like he's like a background character most of the time. He shows up. This is a weird thing The Simpsons will do, where they'll have a certain few characters show up. It's always like the same sort of, like they have a small group of characters they'll take from to use in like book clubs and stuff like that. With Sideshow Mel, I don't watch a lot of. This is just something I noticed in like when I see clips and stuff. Sideshow Mel, sometimes Reverend Lovejoy and Helen Lovejoy, more so Helen Lovejoy. Gil sometimes. Sideshow Mel is one that's in those a lot, and then also that guy, even though he's like a celebrity, but he's used more just like as like a Springfield like townsperson in those sort of settings. And he's in his casual wear with like a polo shirt and jeans. He's like, he doesn't look like the old version of Mike Tyson. He just looks like his normal self, but he's just like a background character. I guess he kind of seems retired, but it's like, it feels more like this is just what he does in his off time, and his actual career just isn't touched on anymore because he's not a real character anymore. He's just a Springfield townsperson. Which is a weird thing that happens in cartoons sometimes, where it's like this is a celebrity character, but they're also just a character on the show, so now they're just like interact with the other characters normally as if they're just like a townsperson because they're a reoccurring character now, even though they were a celebrity.
Lots of The Simpsons is guilty of that a lot with just
The Simpsons especially,
being inconsistent about how big the celebrities on the show are. Like, is Krusty the Clown a Leno? Is he, a small town TV?
Oh yeah,
who knows?
Krusty especially. Krusty is probably like needs it. Also Springfield though too, because like Springfield is like some town no one's heard of, and then it's like, but it's also like movies are made here. I guess Springfield is more like treated with fame the same way Homer and stuff are, where it's like Homer's been to space, but he's also a nobody, which is that's just a funny little thing. That's not just cartoons.
I also wanted to point out that I noticed recently the timeline of the early flashback episodes is pretty consistent somehow. Like the first flashback episode they did was set in 74.
They were all pretty much like the 70s, yeah.
No, but then the next one was 1980, and they still referred to like as if the characters were aging. It's weird. It's weird. And then I guess they were just like, I guess we give up with this. Whatever. Don't care anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, it cuts from this beginning of the Family Guy theme song to, what is this, a clip of an anime? Oh, it's Goku! It's just some clips from Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. I'm not even going to try to describe everything that's happening here. This is just a clip of Dragon Ball Z. Goku's got a halo above his head. We only see his feet at first, and then we see some of his family and stuff, and it's like... Actually, what's interesting about all these clips... It was the Sonic menu, but Sonic pops up into frame like he's back. It was the Family Guy opening, but Peter pops up into frame like he does usually with the opening, but it's like he's returned to Lois, and he puts his arms around Lois like he does in the opening. Does it show that part? It does.
But Lois was Lois was also taken.
Well,
so
yeah, I think
a little bit continuity.
I guess. I don't know. Goku phases in to this scene, and it's like clearly he's been traveling and he's back with his family, and they're all staring at him like, oh, Goku's back. I think there's probably a famous scene where it's like, Goku's back. I don't know.
Goku's back, everybody. That's the quote.
Yeah. And it cuts from this to a clip of an ancient Mickey Mouse cartoon. I don't think it's Steamboat Willie. It may be. It may be.
Steamboat Willie's more violent than this. I don't think Minnie.
I think the designs are a little too polished for it to be Steamboat Willie.
I don't think Minnie is in Steamboat Willie either.
I think she is. Maybe. I know Pete is in Steamboat Willie. Did you know Pete's a cat?
Yeah.
That's fucked. To say it in your way language, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked, man.
Mickey doesn't seem to be coming back as much. This is, he's just kind of
joyously celebrating.
Yeah, but just in like a normal sort of way they usually would. This is a clip of them. Mickey's pulling on Minnie's arms. They're on either side of a water fountain, and he's like he's pulling her arms for some reason. He's trying to kiss her, and as he's leaning over it, she turns on the water fountain and sprays him a bunch, and she's kind of laughing about it. As he was trying to, I guess, sexually assault her. So that's a weird scene. Then it cuts to a scene from Porco Rosso of Gina from Porco Rosso looking over a ledge at Porco Rosso,
she was,
flying by. Again,
hello, Porco.
Like the last clip, she doesn't. It's not really feels like she's returning as much. So maybe I guess that theory of that kind of went out the window. I
feel like maybe the first ones it was returning, but now they've already.
I think maybe it was only supposed to be Goku. That's the only one where he really tried to do that with. I think this next clip is going to throw even more of a wrench into what we're talking about here. So this is Gina. Oh, and there's a dramatic shot of her,
close-up of her
looking over at the plane too.
Mm-hmm.
This next clip is Samus.
I believe this is from Metroid Prime 2.
I don't know what Metroid game it is, but it's Samus Aran from the Metroid series, duking it out, shooting Ripley the dragon from the Metroid series, where she missed. Also,
dumbass,
fucking stupid ass. Samus was not in Misty Group. She was only referred to as one of his ex-wives.
Oh right, yeah. Wait a second.
So I feel like this throws a wrench into our whole analysis here of them like being returned. This is more just like abstract clips.
Copyrighted footage.
Yeah, this is more just like abstract clips of characters he is mentioned. It's like remember.
But he's not even. She's not even mentioned in the script.
I remember.
I do remember. This is the Ready Player One of
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah.
I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just.
Speaking of Ready Player One, the next clip, Space Jam.
What?
This is a scene from Space Jam. This is that scene from.
Looking out at the dome.
Yeah, where it's in the establishing shot of like the long line of Looney Tunes characters in cars going up to the dome, even though there's not that many Looney Tunes characters in the movie. There's definitely not like I could accept that there is enough Looney Tunes characters to fill a line of cars this long, but they don't use that many of them in the movie, even in the crowd shots or anything. And it zooms in on the dome. And this is the dome. I thought it was the dome with the meeting, the town meeting, but it's not. It's the dome for the.
It's the basketball.
Okay, dome. I can accept that. But this is the. Okay,
this is the basketball court.
This is the basketball court where the game.
There's a
spotlight takes place.
Going across. That Samus shot really confused me. I'll tell you what. Now we see a lump in the ground.
Yeah, this is just the scene of Bugs Bunny tunneling in.
He's back
to the Space Jam
probably
court.
Peaked though, I don't know. He's back, baby.
And he plunges through the floorboards into the auditorium and kind of does like a ta type of thing, and right as the music swells. Oh, look at that smear frame.
Wow, that's great. Listeners,
and the music, by the way, the music had been saying tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down for a bit.
Yeah.
Also. And now it just comes to this point where he comes up, cuts back to Alec. Layer 2.
I should comment on this. Alec, what did you do to Samus? I mean, maybe it is stuff he's used, but this is something so bad that he didn't even show us what he did to Samus.
Well, the Samus stuff was before he met Betty, right?
What? Oh yeah, Samus was his first wife, right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought that Samus wasn't even referenced in the book.
No, she was
Mr. Boo.
That's why Samus was. It wasn't just totally random. She was.
I was thinking it was.
That's why she came
random.
after Gina.
Oh, so he's his first wife.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's less confusing for me.
Yeah, but it does kind of, but it is like not really as much like they're returning to the whatever because
I think it still counts. I mean, the fact that she's in her natural habitat now.
But she was never gone. Like she was only ever referred to. She was never taken. You know what they should have done was they should have had a clip of Walt Disney. That would have been funny.
It's more.
They should have had a clip of Jeff Bezos.
It's not the literal taking of it.
If he really wanted to make this like
the manipulation
more comedic, he could have in that bunch of clips he could have just had a shot of like a gravestone that says Jeff Bezos on it.
Oh, that would be great.
I'm not sure if that would have fit as much, but that'd be pretty funny. Just some tips here. I know. I mean, we're just giving this our expert comedy takes here.
Yeah.
So take notes, Alec.
Please.
Please take notes. We return to the shot of level 2 Alec in front of the red void background.
For Alec Robbins. Mr. Boop.
Yes. With the in the extremely loud and incredibly close pose with tears in his eyes.
It's a good drawing.
Still kind of zooming in on him as he stares at the computer. Do you think all that was happening on the computer? Like, what is he staring at still? All of that was just happening in front of him. His creation come to life, and everything was returned.
He's watching himself create this in Premiere Pro,
and he's like, "My God, it's so beautiful! This swelling thing." And he's just listening to the Evangelion song on loop the whole time as he does it.
I've returned them. He's sobbing as he's placing those MP4s into this timeline.
And we cut from this to a shot of a door, a very close-up shot of a wooden door with a nameplate on it.
Yes, and the nameplate says Mr. Dot Fleischer, CEO of Fleischer Studios. I'm pretty sure this guy's dead, and also that company doesn't exist.
This is Comics Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
Man,
yeah.
Comics Kingdom really should have bought the rights to Mr. Boop. That would.
It's true. Do you?
Then
think
Popeye could have showed up. They could have had a big Popeye crossover.
Oh yeah.
Oh. You know what they should do?
Imagine if Alec had the rights to use Popeye.
You know what they should do, dude? That's why Popeye was never really. Yeah. He wanted to be respectful. All the others, it's like, fuck them. But Popeye, you gotta have permission to use Popeye.
Yeah. No, but do you think that this is those clips for or this is all this thing we're talking about how they these characters best exist in their proper contexts, and to remove them too far is morally objectionable, and we should get them. We should get Alec Robbins. I don't know, or just the fact that, or just saying that these characters belong in their original context. Do you think that's what he's saying?
I don't think he's saying. I don't think he's making any sort of judgment here. This is just.
Yeah.
This is more of a. This is more. I feel like this is more of a character moment than this is more character stuff than anything else. It's important for him as a development for him that those characters are symbolically returned or whatever. But if that was even what was being shown, I mean, again, it just kind of feels
it's so confusing.
It kind of just feels like it was just like, yeah, I remember.
Ready Player.
Maybe there is a Fleischer still alive that's CEO of Fleischer Studios. No, I think there is.
Fleischer Studios doesn't exist.
Shut up, Lisa, because wait a second. On Twitter.com, we follow a Twitter account called @BoopPrezSays, Fleischer Studios. And the official Fleischer Studios Twitter happenings at the studio with #BuddyBoop, Coco, and other characters. Let's see, FleischerStudios.com. Where does this go? Fleischer Studios still exists.
That's crazy.
And
it said
CEO Mark Fleischer, didn't it? I don't.
Hang on. Where's Fleischer?
Hang on.
Plus?
This is a note from President and CEO Mark Fleischer from February 2021. Yeah. Mark Fleischer is the CEO of Fleischer Studios, so this is totally correct. You're just fucking dumb.
Wow, rude.
I'm sorry, but this is just true. All right, look at all this.
Go back to the
the Twitter,
the name tag.
What name tag?
On the door.
The
name on the door.
It just says CEO, Mr. Fleischer, CEO of Fleischer Studios.
If you zoom in, if you let it zoom in a little bit, just a little, so you can't see the edges.
What do you mean?
Wait, I'll tell you when
Oh, okay. Right before
Oh.
it cuts away.
Wait,
Right before it cuts. Okay.
right before it cuts away, what?
Right before it cuts away, you get a little bit of that classic Christian imagery. The Mr. Fleischer is in a
Oh,
cross.
the door frame kind of. You think that's
Yeah, it looks
intentional?
like well,
The door frame kind of is shaped
hard
like
to
a
know.
cross.
Exactly, and the wooded texture kind of adds
Yes.
to that. Mr. Fleischer is being
This is
crucified
interesting.
for a...
It cuts to an interior shot of this office, and the background is red, which I think symbolizes that this is the real world, level 2 anyway, level 2 real world.
Wow.
And it says, "There's a okay. This is probably the most complicated shot we've seen so far because there's a lot of background elements here, even though it's a red void." And I think when we've said void this whole time, like the colors make it seem more like a void, but I think it is kind of just like I think it's meant to be just as much of a void as any Mr. Boop strip is. To be honest, because now that I'm seeing these out, there was the door earlier, and now we see a lot of background elements in this office. This is clearly an office. It's not like an office in the void. It's just like this is an office, and the background is red, but that's just the color he's chosen to represent this level of world or whatever. I'm not sure why the colors changed in the other one from like blue to yellow or blue to white to yellow, but yeah. Anyway,
I don't. When was it yellow? When was it yellow?
it turned to like piss yellow. Remember? See?
I don't remember. Oh right, yeah.
I
feel like it's the key.
Periwinkle.
I think that it's to create a sense of momentum. Of change.
I guess, yeah. So we see a big desk here, a big like CEO type desk with a nameplate that says Mr. Fleischer, CEO of Fleischer Studios. All that's on this desk is a computer monitor and keyboard, and there's probably a mouse, but we don't see the mouse. I don't know where
Why would Mr. Fleischer need a mouse?
I don't know where the mouse would be plugged in. This is the most art we've had to like have any like sort of anything to talk about so far.
There's on the bottom right hand. There's a really cool Betty statuette, which has cool like fucked ringed eyes that I love.
Ringed eyes,
like as in the eyes are the eyeliner makes them look baggier, and like I don't know. I like that.
I don't think it's supposed to have eyeliner. I think
effect.
it's just.
I like that effect.
I think it's just because it's so small that's how the. I don't think it's meant to be eyeliner.
I like how sometimes Betty is drawn with heavy eyeliner like that, and these big circle eyes and heavy eyeliner, and I love that.
Here's something interesting about all of the elements that we see here is that, or maybe not all of them. I feel like with a lot of this, I don't know. It's difficult to tell like if this was just drawn on a white background and then cut out all of these things, or if he drew all of this and then colored it in white. Because I assumed he had drawn on a white background and then colored them all out. But if you look at the Betty figurine, the way where some of the transparent areas are, it feels like it was more just colored in white. But then if you look at the clock, it feels more like there's like errors there with the transparency. There's a clock on the wall with a Betty picture on it.
I think
it almost looks like her legs should be the things telling the time, but instead there's like two clock arms on it.
I think he used the magic wand to cut out the edges, or something like that, right?
Yeah, maybe. What time does it say on the clock? 9:16.
Yes, 9:16.
No.
It says a time. It says
Is it 2 a.m. for you?
Yes.
Oh my
it's 2
God.
a.m. for me. The little hand indicates the hour, right? Correct.
Hoot hoot. Oh, hour. Sorry, not owl. Yeah, I think this is 4:30. No, 3:30. I think it's 3:30. because it's like halfway between 3 and 4.
No, yeah.
So
All right,
3:30.
Yeah, and the minute is the minute hand is right in the middle. So yeah, 3:30.
Right. AM or PM, impossible to tell.
Stupid non-24-hour clock.
Also on his desk is a notepad with a pen or pencil, probably pencil, on it. One of the pages pulled back also.
He's making notes about the newest Betty Boop cartoon.
And another like pad next to it or something, some sort of pad next to it, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think that's like a stack of papers probably with a pen on it, and some of the papers are pulled back rather than like notepad. And then next to that,
he's got a name tag.
Next to that, I said that. Next to that, I think might be like a clipboard or something. I don't know. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what that is.
Mark Fleischer.
It's covered up. Yes. It doesn't say Mark.
I spaced.
Yep.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Have we described the man himself?
No, we haven't. No.
He's hunched over his keyboard, like a keyboard worker he is, and he has a jacket on, like a blazer jacket, and a buttoned-up shirt, and a watch on, and he's got a mustache. He looks a lot like Max Fleischer, actually, weirdly enough, but like an older version.
Max Fleischer?
Yeah, I think he looks like Max Fleischer.
That's probably who he's meant to look like.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense.
Well,
because Mark Fleischer's dead. He also looks like the titular, not titular Mr. Boop.
Yes. How peculiar.
Even though this is real life, I'm not really exactly sure what he's going for here. The person who doesn't look anything like is Mark Fleischer, the current CEO of Fleischer Studios, grandson of Betty Boop creator Max Fleischer. Mark Fleischer doesn't look anything like Mark Fleischer.
Well, anyway,
because Mark Fleischer's got some graying hair and no mustache. I'm looking at pictures of Mark Fleischer right now.
But also, Max Fleischer's mustache doesn't look like this. It's
no,
the Walt Disney thing.
Yeah, that's another weird thing. I feel like I want to look at pictures of the titular, not titular Mr. Boop and compare it.
It's pretty close, if I remember right. It's pretty similar.
He's
got a clock.
Yeah, describe the shelf while I look up.
I don't know. I don't remember what we described.
That's why I said describe the shelf. I'm telling you.
Okay, he's got a cabinet behind him, and in it he's got a bunch of things that are stacked against each other. It's impossible for us to know what it is. He's got some
like books and stuff,
or something like that. He's also got like a stove behind his chair?
I think that's a copier. Or just part of the desks. I mean, cabinets. That might be drawers, part of the cabinets, yeah. And then there's like glass cabinets as well. It's a very elaborate, like expensive looking cabinet display. And there's a potted plant on all the way to the right. His design looks like a modern businessman version of
yes.
The titular, not titular Mr. Boop. He doesn't have the spikes in his hair, which were to be reminiscent of Betty, because that version was Betty's father. He doesn't have a tie or anything because it's like a modern suit. Like more casual CEO type look. Yes. He's got a expensive watch on. I don't think he's wearing gloves, but his mustache is exactly the same. And the hair color is the same, and he's even got expressive eyebrows, like the titular, not titular Mr. Boop had. And he's at his computer, hands hovering over the keyboard and sitting in a desk chair. And it slowly, like, zooms in towards him
Pans.
before cutting to a shot of just presumably what he's looking at on his computer monitor, which is Gmail, right? This is definitely Gmail.
Yeah, this is totally.
A close-up of an email he's sending in front of his Gmail display, which if I want to get a better look at, we see a bunch of emails in the background. We can't really make out any of them, except for the topmost one, which says, just trying to, the end of 2020 and the start of a new tradition. That's part of what it says.
I think that's one of the generic emails that Gmail sends you.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure what all these emails are. I think, like, in real life, I think this is Alex inbox. Maybe. I have many inboxes, so I could, if I were to do something, if I were to do something like this, I'd probably take a screenshot of like the inbox for one of my YouTube channels that I don't use the email for, because then it's just like a bunch of emails like, oh, this YouTube video got copyright striked. Oh, here's your newsletter, whatever. So all emails that don't matter. Okay, and the email says, "Good morning, Mr. Robbins. We here at Fleischer Studios have been made aware of your sexually explicit comic strip utilizing our IP Betty Boop." And there's a little trademark symbol next to that. It's in parentheses. "Without permission. Obviously, we have some issues with this, and I've met with our company's lawyers regarding the matter. We intend to," and then he's still typing it. What's his name? Mr. Fleischer is still typing this email out to Alec Robbins. And it's all
Jr.
It's all handwritten. I don't know if we mentioned that already. It's handwritten, even though it's an email.
Yeah, it's a bit of stylization for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says it's insane. It says, like, we can see the little toolbar for the email. It says it's sans serif font. So I guess that's the name of the official Mr. handwritten font.
I assume that would be funny if he released this as a font and that was the name.
Yeah, he gets sued by the creator of sans serif too.
Yeah.
And it continues on this stale of the email. Gives you time to read it, and all. We see an outside shot of the door to this man's office. It says there's a little nameplate on the door. Big fancy wooden door. It says Mr. Fleischer, CEO of Fleischer Studios.
And we return to that Catholic imagery.
Oh, I guess on the door, yeah. That's what his nameplate also said on his desk, by the way, obviously. So,
because that's what
a fist is like reaching up to the door. They seem to be in a suit or something. Like they have
a suit, if you will.
That's what I said. What? It's like a suit coat arm. We only see his arm, but it seems like a suit coat around the arm. We cut to that shot of the interior of the full shot of the office again, but now he's like looking up from his computer, like as if someone has knocked on his door.
And by context, we can tell someone has.
Yes.
At least that's the illusion that's being created by these moving images.
And this next moving image is a hand handing him an envelope. It is a suit jacket because it has a button on the arm. This is the same arm, I assume, that was knocking on the door. It's handing him a white rectangle that says "To Betty Boop's Dad." I assume it's an envelope. To Betty Boop's dad is what it says. I don't know who's handing him this. Maybe his secretary or something.
I like the way that he. I mean, obviously this letter's from Alec.
Yeah.
In the way,
but it's not Alec handing it to him.
Yeah. No, but I mean, as in I like the combination of his fantasy world and the real world of Mr. Fleischer, because he's saying to Betty Boop's but dad, like he's still sort of, you know, that's the way he sees it in sort of a way. You know what I mean? Like because in his fiction, Betty Boop's dad was owned by Mr. Fleischer, and then this
yes, but also
mid-layer.
in real life, the CEO of Fleischer Studios would be to the real. I don't know which level Alec we're talking about necessarily. I guess level 2 Alec.
Yeah, mid-level
Mid-level Alec. I think mid-level Alec would still refer to him as Betty Boop's dad, just because he's like the creator or owner of Betty Boop.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, he's Betty Boop's dad, not literally her dad, but in the same way that the creator of Bugs Bunny is Bugs Bunny's dad. Or if he was writing a letter to Walt Disney, he would say Mickey's dad, maybe. Which in the comic is more literal, but also I think level 2 Alec would just, even without meaning it literally, would just be like, you know, you're the guy who's the dad of Betty Boop, you know?
I don't know. I think maybe that's something that you've got to figure out. I think like this is something that I wouldn't.
That's how I read it.
I don't
think it's something you got to figure out. It's just just kind of a character assessment.
I just meant. I mean, like, I think that's a weird character assessment.
I think you're weird.
People refer to creators as their dads all the time. You know, I think
that's not what I'm saying.
To be like,
I'm saying level 2 Alec would.
Yeah, but I think level 2 Alec would, because he's created this fiction in which he is
maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's because he's literally like still thinking like that he's. The guy is Betty's dad. It's just like he's just that's just how he knows him. Is he's the dad? He's the Betty Boop dad. You know, it's like because he's like, what is he gonna say to Max Fleischer or whatever? What did it say?
Max Fleischer
Max. He said Mr. Fleischer. Just his Mr. Fleischer.
I think
like, what is he gonna say to Mr. Fleischer? I don't think level 2 Alec would write that. I don't, fantasy or not. It's just like. It's more of a. I read it more as like Alec
is quirky.
I read it as more of a simpleton move than like a deranged move. You know, I don't think it's because he's like, you know, he's that guy is Betty Boop's dad. It's just like, oh, it's like when you go over to when you're a kid, you go over to your friend's house and it's like, hey, Mr. Friend's name. It's like, that's not their name. That's the name of their kid. And you just called them Mr. the kid's name.
Yeah, like Billy.
Yeah, hey, Mr. Billy.
Hey,
Billy Mr. Billy's dad. You know? That's what
Billy's
it's like.
Dad and Billy's dad and Billy the kid. Heyo.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Hey, Mr. Billy's dad. That's what it's like when he's writing to the... creator Betty Boop, or the CEO of Betty Boop's studio. It's like, hey, hey, Mr. Betty Boop's dad. You know,
I guess
that's how I'm reading it.
I guess, but I feel like there's an for me there is he is simple, to use your words, but I think it's also in part because of the fantasy, you know. But
the point is that he's
escaping
it.
Yeah. Which is why this use of the Betty Boop's dad confuses me, or not confuses me.
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't think it's meant to be used that way, in the way you're reading it.
But I'm not too sure how you're meant to read it.
I think that's just how I read it. Is that it's like when you go over to your friend's house. So it's like, oh, it's Betty Boop's. Hi, Betty Boop's dad. It's like, you can call me Mr. Fleischer. Okay, Mr. Betty Boop.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding. Mr. Fleischer has unfolded this. He's opened the envelope and he's unfolded the letter within. And he's holding it betwixt his fingers and hands. Did we say he's got a watch on his hand? He does.
Probably. Yeah, we probably mentioned that.
And the letter that he's reading said we see We saw a shot of him holding it in front of him. It was like a close-up, but with his head cut off frame, the top of a frame. And now we cut to a shot of like, just straight above the letter, and we see both of his hands holding it on either side. Yeah. God, that is a big thumbnail on one of his hands. Also, it's like the bottom of the thumbnail is like not drawn, so just look at looks like it's blended into the thumb wrinkles. It's weird. The letter. Do you want to read this letter?
Yeah,
I'll read the other one.
Hello to Betty Boop's dad. My name is Alec Robbins, and I am so... That's 4 O's and underlined. Sorry I pretended to marry Betty Boop and have so... Also underlined, and what's that, 5 O's? Much sex with her. And other cartoons like Bugs Bunny and Gina from Porco Rosso.
Which he does not own.
No.
Just so you know, they were there too.
He's just confessing.
Yeah.
You know? I feel really bad about it, and I promise to stop making comics about it. I realize now that it was wrong of me to use a big company's mascot like that without getting permission first. I promise to now always respect big companies from here on out. I'm also sorry everyone associates Betty Boop with me now. Love, Alec. I feel like this is,
Well, first of all, I want to say this is like a much more straightforward statement than anything else in the video so far. It's just like, by the way, here's what's going on. here's the conclusion that I've come to.
I feel like this is from the author Alec, real life Alec Robbins. This is coded in so much cynicism, not cynicism, but irony. I feel like sarcasm is the right word. Like,
to a degree, yeah. I don't think it's straight up like sarcasm so much as it is just like I don't know what you would call it. It's like sarcasm. I would think is like, I'm gonna do that. All right, I'm definitely gonna stop doing all that wink. Like, but that's not how I'm reading it. I'm reading it as more like he's being ironic, I guess. I don't know. Like he doesn't not mean it, but he's just like kind of. It's the fact that he's saying it is a
using
joke.
Air quotes. No.
Yeah. Well, he's. I guess the sarcasm is sort of just in the sentiment that it would be a big deal at all. That's the sarcastic aspect of it.
I feel like real life.
Also, in that he didn't stop doing this in real life, he's still doing this.
Real life author Alec is sort of using mid-layer Alec as like a sort of straw man here to be like,
yes,
to highlight the patheticness of this, you know?
Yeah.
He's making him look even more, pathetic than he ever has before, like saying, oh, please! But also that makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe on the narrative level, this is also sarcastic, but I
don't think so. Because this is kind of like, that's not how I read it. I think this is like character development for that level of Alec. And in real life, so any of that sort of like sarcasm is just through real Alec.
Is metatextual.
Yes. Sure, that word. Because it's a ridiculous thing. That's I don't know. It's like the fact that he would write this is such a ridiculous thing that's kind of the irony of it. I don't know.
I like the earlier in the episode you mentioned the Mona Lisa allegory, which I think is funny.
I did.
Yeah, you said like this. You said like this would be like if someone printed out a photo of the Mona Lisa and then had like a weird
yeah.
affair, a kinky
Right.
affair, and then handed it back. Like, I'm so sorry. This is yours.
I
what?
remember.
I like.
Yeah,
I
that
feel
is
like, yeah,
that
this
is
is
yeah,
more
that
of
is what
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what was I gonna? I guess I already said I was gonna. I think I had a point that I said, oh, I'll get to it later. I might have already gotten to it. I don't remember what it was. I remember I had a point that it was. Oh, he's very confused, by the way. We cut
like the curators at the Louvre. He is.
that. This is. I mean, yeah. This is pretty much what's playing out. Is pretty much what I had described in a way. It's a close up of Mr. Fleischer reading the letter, and there's three big electoral hearts floating next to his head. He's in a red void, and he's got an eyebrow raised. And he's just like, what the fuck? Kind of expression on his face.
Kind of like saying.
And so we can also see he's got a chin dimple because it's such a close up.
Yeah, the way that Mr. Boop is confused and seemingly unaware and uncaring about this. Well, I don't know if he was unaware. Kind of points out how.
Well, yeah, he's not unaware. He was literally writing. The email.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know. Even if you did apologize to these big companies, they'd be like, "What? That's not that's not what's meant to happen."
It's sort of a funny thing how like it's meant to be like. The email is written through the irony of real life, Alec, but meanwhile, this CEO is on the level of reality that's like still within the fiction, but he's being portrayed like realistically as if this is like really a letter he got in real life. Do you think Alex sent this letter in real life?
Oh, I hope so. I wonder
too. I mean,
I wonder
just
indeed.
for the bit. For the
Wink.
bit, we've done many things for the bit, so it's not out of the question. This shot of Mr. Fleischer, confoundedly looking at the letter, fades into a supercut time lapse. What would you call this?
Yeah, I don't know, like a hyperspeed,
Hyperspeed
recap.
It's a supercut of every Mr. Boop strip. Flashing by.
Yeah.
In front of our eyes, zooming in.
The music swells.
It also, I feel
intensely.
like it. I thought it kind of froze on one for like one extra frame.
It zooms
but I guess
in.
That was it's zooming in a little bit.
This is kind of a day in the life-esque swelling.
And the music is like not distorting necessarily, but it's like fading into a like horror sting underlying noise as it gets louder. Swell, yeah.
Yes. As I was saying, a day in the lifestyle. You familiar with
what's that?
The Beatles song? Final track on Sgt. Pepper's.
No,
You know, it kind of has a thing like.
But I don't think the actual song here does this, right? I think this was done in.
I don't
the
remember.
video.
It might do. I mean, you saw End of Evangelion more recently than I did.
Yeah, I don't. It feels like it's from a different song. It feels like he's kind of overlaying a like audio from a different like a horror.
It might even be from A Day in the Life. It's kind of similar.
No, I don't think so. It's probably from like a horror movie or something, or like copyright free horror sounds, whatever. This immediately as it finally the time lapse like ends.
Climaxes.
Like gets to like not the final strip, but like the strip where which number strip is this? So we know exactly. Look it up.
Well,
what was that?
That's me making a noise.
What the what? Oh, it does go to the final strip. Never mind. It does go to strip whatever whatever the strip before this one was, 216. It does go all the way to strip 216. And then it immediately cuts to like TV interference static. Like this is
Yeah.
like
Analog VHS.
Yeah, recorded to VHS. Like in the strip club videos.
This puts us into suspense. And
I thought you were gonna
tells
say
us that
puts us into
perhaps-
strip mode.
Oh.
I was gonna say don't say that.
Well, thankfully I didn't.
Yeah, thankfully you didn't. It says
Anyway, yeah, it makes us. It reminds us of the strip club, perhaps.
I see
Teases
the
that it's
words
coming.
care for and the words foundation helps needy children. This feels familiar. I feel like there was other
We've
like
definitely described this.
donation talk
yeah.
before. I don't think it's the exact same thing. But there's
Mm-hmm.
like weather stuff at the bottom too. High 70 to 75,
There's a
east
date,
wind 5.
June 30th is.
We see some television programming listed. 8 vocal jazz, 9 the Toll. What does that say? The Toll Simpson Club.
That's a Tom Simpson show or something.
The Tom Simpson Show.
Yeah.
Portland pop star biographies at I don't know 4:30.
Tom Simpson was a British cyclist.
Huh.
Yes,
He had a
got
show?
He died in 1967.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm.
Something biblical studies after that. Maybe Getty. Maybe reference to Getty there. The something street
But what does it mean, Ryan?
weekly. I don't know. Gets really staticky, really green, and lots of colors staticky. Yes. Before finally cutting to a shot of Alec on the strip club, holding a microphone, looking directly at the audience. Hair longer than it was last time we saw him at the strip club, all the way down to his elbows. We're in the same outfit though, I think.
Now, I want to say something about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The strip club, we've mentioned before, is a weird melding of Mr. Boop and Alec Robbins. Mr. Boop and Alec Robbins, you know? Right? It's both Layer 2 Alec and also literally Alec Robbins, the author. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's just Layer 2 Alec, Mr. Boop. Maybe, I don't know.
But the fact
What are you saying it's a melding of? Not real life Alec.
Layer
Layer 1 and Layer 2?
Alec. No, real life Alec and
No,
Layer
I
2
disagree.
Alec.
I think it's just level Layer 2. I don't think there's much of.
In a symbolic sense, I feel like there's
I would
something
only
about it.
maybe say that about the art tutorial one. Maybe that's the only one I would maybe say that about. Maybe. Because that is also like a sincere art tutorial to an extent. But these interviews are not sincere, they're in character. Anyway, he looks difficult. It's difficult to read emotion on it when it's not like drawn to specifically be an emotion, but I do think he looks like upset, at least.
It's because you're a robot, Brian. That's because
it says Alec Robbins, inventor of Mr. Boop, in front of the screen as well.
as it did in the last one.
Did it say inventor before?
Yeah.
He's just
He
kind of
looks to his left, right, or whatever direction you
Yeah.
want to be.
He's not
Stage
saying
right.
anything. He's just kind of silent. He looks over to,
puts down
I
his
guess,
mic.
to where the host of the strip club is sitting. We see a wide shot. Cuts to a wide shot of the flapper shot. No, just a wide shot
Ah.
of
This is
of the strip club
but
set.
this is
I
the
think it looks
furthest into
differently.
reality.
This is not
Yeah.
the strip club set as seen before.
No.
Now they're in like a dank garage.
Mhm.
And also, when it cuts,
Perhaps-
it's not a like he's looking over to the
Yeah,
to the
it's
right,
not-
and then when it cuts, he's just like looking forward. It's like
Mhm.
not
creepy.
yeah. I don't know if that's intentional.
Would you say that the set dressing at the strip club has been stripped away?
I honestly think they just didn't have access to the same place they recorded the first ones. But they do still have a table in the middle with the first strip like on it. So that bit of set decoration is there. I'm not sure if it's the same table, but there is still a table there that's...
This is more related to being Mr. Boop than Mr. Boop. But I feel like one of the big differences between us in this is our relationship to whether or not the author is alive or dead. You familiar with Death of the Author?
Oh my god, you with Death of the Author again.
No,
Go on.
That was... Oh, well, Death of the Author, it says that...
Never heard of it.
But
Let me tell you all about it.
In my analysis of Mr. Boop and pretty much anything, I consider how my first consideration is how I react to the information I'm given, right? But your first instinct, at least in this podcast, has been to figure out what the author was actually doing with it, And I feel like that leads to an interesting but different perspective. It's with the original Odd Couple.
It's not that I don't do what you said, but I mean, that's the thing that jumps out to me first, because that's like, it takes less brain power to figure out. I'm just seeing exactly. Well, I don't know. I guess that's not exactly true. But a lot of the time, I'm just seeing exactly like what happened, and I can figure out what he did. And I mean, intent I think is harder to figure out than. Well, I guess it depends. But I would say sometimes intent is harder to figure out than process. It's true. With process you can kind of infer. Intent is more like. Intent is only as easy to understand as the author makes it, I guess.
Okay. But I feel like for me, when I see these shots of the disconnecting shots, but also the empty set, I get a sense of like, well, this is sort of eerie, right? And this is sort of the reality stripped away.
Wait, what does that have to do with Death of the Author, though?
I'm gonna say, I don't know, and I don't think that's intentional, but I like that reading of it,
That it is intentional?
Not that it's intentional, I just like that reading of the text, that this is
so you were
this is
okay. I see. So the difference is, I mean, whether that was the intention or not, you're like making a reading of it of intention. Whereas I'm like thinking practically. Well, the thing is, I think a lot of time with Mr. Boop in particular, a lot of time it's both.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there's intention there. I'm just saying that is a.
Well, you're looking for an intention, whether there is one or not.
I'm looking for an interpretation.
Yeah, as opposed to just in my opinion, more realistic reading of just that was just how they did it, and they weren't really thinking that much about it. Sometimes he does, but I mean, the thing is, we overanalyze these so much that when we're thinking of a detail that I don't think they necessarily would have thought of in the making of it, because they're not overanalyzing it like we are. So it's like, oh yeah, it's a different set. In their mind, it's just like, oh, we're just gonna film it here or whatever. They don't expect people to comb through and be like, oh, this is a different location. What the fuck? There's less set dressing? What does this mean? So there is that as well.
I think I like coming up with a meaning even if it's not what I think the author meant.
I mean, yeah, that's
yeah.
Probably what we should be doing, but I guess I'm not as creative. No, I do come up with that sometimes.
Yeah,
I think, right? Maybe
yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah, you
I don't know what I'm like
on
the podcast. I don't listen to this podcast.
You can. Oh, I've heard a few. Wow. Tell you what.
What is it?
Those
What do you think this is?
guys.
Being Jim Davis? I don't listen to it. So Alex just sitting there. in silence.
Being Jim Davis should do us a favor. They should be the only people who listen to our podcast. We're doing it for them. We're the since we're the only people listening to that.
Also, the other Being Jim Davis listeners should listen to this podcast as well.
Yeah.
Whoever
Who
they are.
knows? I mentioned it a few times on the last episode. Maybe they all tuned in.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
Did you even listen to the ones I
listened to the ones you were on.
we both hosted recently is what we're referencing.
After this episode was released, of course.
I don't think we've decided on that yet. I'm not sure.
I think it would be best to release this to put the most recent date on this when we release it, so that it appears at the top of people's feeds. Because then, otherwise, it will just be buried under weeks old content.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Is this going in? Who knows? So anyway, the host of this strip club is sitting there, legs crossed. Huh?
We had a name for him because he's a real life person who we know the name of. But
yeah, whatever. Go back, listen to the strip club episodes we did. I think so. He has a water bottle there sitting next to him in his rocking chair. The chair is the same. I'm pretty sure. The chair is the same. I think. Maybe this is the same location. I don't know. Maybe they just don't have the backdrop. Was there a backdrop? I'm pretty sure it was. I think there was like plants and stuff. We're not gonna go back and look.
In the center, there was like it was on a bookshelf type thing. Initially, or a drawer, a different type of drawer.
Drawer.
A drawer.
That's what Alec is.
Drawn.
There's I feel like there was a water bottle next to him last time as well, and there's a water bottle next to him this time.
Yeah.
Lisa, say it.
What a boy.
Alec is silent. He gets up. He stands up slowly, and he's letting the microphone fall from his hand. And
now the microphone is Alec's expression into the world. Without the microphone, the people watching can't hear him. He's letting go of his.
Okay, I see what you mean now, because this is about the time when I would be like, I don't think he intended it that way. I'm pretty sure he was just holding the microphone. It's a bit of a stretch, Lisa. Myth busted.
So he looks over to the other guy.
He looks over to the host. He's also holding a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Not wireless microphones. The wires are like just off screen somewhere.
Probably go into an input box.
We cut to a close up of him. He's like looking over at Alec. I am not sure how to read this expression.
Yeah, I think this is intentionally vague. I either read this as like he's blank. You know, his agency in the narrative has been taken away because the narrative is no longer in existence.
What?
Or
that's interesting. I don't think so.
Or he's looking at Mr. Boop with the same disgust he looked at him in the previous.
That's how I read it. Yeah. Or a similar something like that. Maybe not exactly like the same sort of disgust, because it's like, well, why did he have him back on just to like what was this going to be?
I feel like we're maybe meant to read this as it's the same, as it's straight after the last strip club. That's how I always read this until you pointed out it's a different set. I don't think so. I don't think so. All right.
That's my theory. He's just kind of blinks at him.
Mm-hmm.
Alec steps over the microphone just down the floor. He walks sort of almost to the center of the frame. You think he was supposed to be in the center of the frame and he just didn't walk far enough?
I don't know. I like the offset.
He is a little bit offset,
but maybe it would have been more powerful if he was directly in front of Mr. Boop, number one.
Yeah, because we still see a little bit of the frame, but we see a little bit of Betty also.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing them next to each other like this.
And it flashes The screen
Yeah.
flashes, and we hear a little bit of the music. I think as it flashes, it like cuts to us to a split second of like him sitting in the chair naked. Maybe?
Is it him?
Someone's sitting in the chair naked. It's. I don't think it is him. I'm not sure.
I think that's a lady.
It's someone sitting in the chair that Alec was just sitting in. The host is still there. I'm pretty sure. It's difficult to. Yeah, the host is still there. No, that is Alec.
Is that? This is hard to tell.
I'm
It's
pretty sure that's Alec. Look at the
someone
hair.
Holding,
And he's holding
and they
glasses. The
So,
microphone is gone. The microphone is like not even on the screen at all. But Alec
what a
is
powerful one.
like naked, head in hands, probably crying, holding glasses. in
This is
his
perhaps,
offhand.
again, 2 readings of this. One reading, this is a pastiche of these dramatic, artistically significant shots in films. B reading,
like End of Evangelion.
yeah, stuff like B reading. Alec is presenting himself naked here. Alec is, I mean, that's literal, but like emotionally naked. You know,
I'm leaning more towards
that.
that first reading,
Yeah.
but maybe not necessarily like a send up in the way you put it, but maybe just sort of like this is something that is kind of like End of Evangelion-y or weird or whatever, right?
Yeah. This is something you'd
Um,
see in a movie.
So this is just like one frame,
Yes.
and we
Less
hear
than
like a
like a
tiny bit of the
second.
music as that frame flashes as well. Fades to a shot, another reaction
Well, he
shot.
walks away. He starts walking away.
Starts
Yeah.
walking away, and it fades to a reaction shot of the host, and then back to the shot of him walking away, the wide
Mhm.
shot.
They're like overlapped a little bit.
Yeah, and we're left with the wide shot and just the host sitting on the set, still not really reacting at all, just holding the microphone, legs crossed. The
And
final shot we see,
yeah.
huh?
that's the final shot we see of Mr. Boop.
You said and then.
I said I was going to say, and then that's the final shot of Mr. Boop.
Oh yeah, it's the final shot is that it's this set of the strip club, exactly as we described it. The microphone is on the ground,
Mhm.
and
Now,
he's sitting in his rocking chair. There's a water bottle.
I don't know how you read this, but this is pretty clearly to me Alec taking himself out of the narrative. You know, he's officially. That's what I was talking about. How the strip club is a combination of layer 2 and
I
layer
think
1.
that's pretty much true.
That's what I meant, as in it's because the strip club is a combination of Mr. Boop and Alec Robbins, right? In that it's physically him, and you see it's like really his face, but it's also the second layer, and so that's him taking the character out of that reality and himself out of making it. He's saying I'm done here.
I don't know. I don't know if I read it any differently than you do, but I maybe don't say it in such meaningful terminology. Just like, and he exits the.
And he's gone.
Yeah, he exits the story, and so the story's over.
I feel like this is some of the most obvious.
And he walked out of the screen. He reached out of the screen and grabbed you.
Oh! He froze his.
Put your
popcorn
3D
at
glasses on.
This is some of the most obvious symbolism in Mr. Boop, I think, or at least in.
I think it's interesting. So, I mean, if we
But
want to
it's-
talk about our
it's
full
important.
thoughts about the finale at this point,
It's obvious. It's obvious because it's the most important symbolism. It's it's the final piece.
I think it's interesting how it started like the finale started pretty vague and like it's like End of Evangelion homage and everything. It's like, well, it's all this weird symbolism was going on. But then when we get to the email, or the letter he sent to Mr. Fleischer, it kind of just spells everything out, I feel like. And then we cut to the strip club interview where he doesn't say anything, but it's just like, I feel like it's a lot more straightforward that he's just like officially ending it. I remember this being more like, what does it mean? How does it end? It's not clear how it ends, but this does actually feel like a clear ending that he's just like, the ending is pretty much exactly what it said in that letter he sent.
This is where these artsy films, Mr. Boop's.
Whereas End of Evangelion, I have no idea what the fuck happened.
These are where these types of films that are generally told in metaphor, allow you reward these levels of analysis that we put on them. You know, where it's not obvious when you let it just wash over you the first time you watch it, but perhaps if you think about it more,
but the level
frame by frame.
the level of analysis that made it easy to understand is just reading the letter. That's what made it easy to understand.
Wow. Yeah, but you said that. Did you not read the letter the first time you?
I probably did. I just didn't really remember that as much as being the ending. As when I think of the finale of Mr. Boop, I just think of all the End of Evangelion stuff or whatever. I just think of, this is a weird, things are appearing and disappearing on screen. Oh, he's got Space Jam? What's so weird? The flash montage of all the characters
like I said,
he had.
It washes over you, and then you have to go back and think about it. And
you have to go back and be like, hey, what did that letter say?
You have to record 217 episodes about it.
That's the only way to truly understand what that ending was about.
Being Mr. Boop ending.
Oh,
explained.
right. Oh, right. We were supposed to read the letter. That's what happened.
Yeah. But
I guess it's also
so
because it's kind of weird even after that because of the Flash and the strip club interview and stuff. But still, I think that's just kind of like weird imagery. But it's like that scene is straightforward. I don't think the fact that the host of the strip club wasn't really doing anything is necessarily meant to be anything. I think it's just like, yeah, he's just kind of.
I'm not too sure. I've got a few thoughts about that, but none of them are really fleshed out.
I guess I can respect that other interpretation, but I don't know if I would. I think he's just there. He's just normal. He's the host.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting that it ends on him, though. He's like such a small part of the whole thing.
Imagine how it would be if the strip club host wasn't there in that final.
Imagine if you listened to all of Being Mr. Boop except for the bonus episodes, and you never read the actual strip or anything, so you're just like, what the fuck is the strip club? Huh?
Well, no, but I mean, like, imagine if during
this isn't a bonus
strip...
episode, right?
Oh, wow!
Even though it's a video.
Yeah. The what's it called? Well, it's a numbered strip, so
yeah.
Anyway, imagine if the strip club guy wasn't in the final bit. It was just him in the strip club in the. What looks like the strip club set.
It would be interesting. Well, that's another reason to think that he
actually
it really is just normal strip club host guy. Because I feel like it would. I mean, yeah, it would be interesting if it after it flashed and went back to the normal shot of Alec, like about to walk away, that the host was just gone. If they were doing anything with the host there metatextually or whatever that means, then I think that might have been what a way they would have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel like it would have been I feel like if the strip club host wasn't there, it would have been stronger imagery. I think. Or at least
for the final shot.
For that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe it wasn't. I don't know if he was too concerned about the final shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like more like the final moment is him walking away, but the final shot doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Not
how it
only
feels
is
to me.
Alec-
I don't think
not
I think he was just like, it doesn't matter that the guy's there. It's just
I like the sudden ending of it, right? There's no like, I don't know, there's no fade or anything.
I think
I like
that was probably. I mean, if we are going to speculate about author's intent, which is what we do.
that's also
I don't
important.
think I think he was focused more on like it being like a sudden ending or what happens in the final moment than like having a shot that it ends on. And
No,
some
but it does
movies,
end
because some
very-
movies end like that.
But it does end very abruptly, right?
Well, yeah, because that's like sometimes
Doesn't-
a movie will often will be like, as particularly with movies where you're like, that's it, that's how it ended. It will have like not like a particularly the ending frame will just be like, that's a weird shot to end on, what? But it's because it's more about
like
the
Harry
moment.
Potter 3 or whatever.
It's more about the
Do we have-
moment
do we-
that it's ending. Yeah, but that's like
Yeah.
that they actually were trying to end on a particular shot, though. I'm talking about movies where they're not really trying to end on a particular shot.
No, but
More of like the moment.
It's not even.
And if
no,
you
it's not-
pause the frame and submit it to every frame of painting or whatever, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this? This frame sucks."
No, but it's like I'm not even talking about the final shot. It's just like it ends.
Sorry, I meant one perfect shot, not every frame of painting.
It ends very abruptly, right? Yeah, and I feel like this is not only is Alec walking out of the narrative, but he's also leaving. Like as soon as he's gone, it's over. You know, the world of Mr. Boop is just, and that's the significance of the final.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know about that being connected to like, oh, it's somewhat real life Alec. I don't know about that, but I do agree with you with the rest of that. Well,
So what do you think of Mr. Boop as a whole?
it's all right.
Went on for too long, I think.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a good length.
Yeah, it did.
If anything, I mean, the way I always feel. I mean, it was only around for a year. I think I would have kind of been like open to seeing more.
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can do with it, I guess. At least the way he was exploring.
Exactly. I feel like he was
It.
already
It evolved so quickly that it's like
Mhm.
there's only so many places you can take. He definitely could. I think this is how one of my favorite shows is Gravity Falls, and I kind of feel similarly about that. That was around for a while, but it only had 2 seasons, which isn't that much. They were lengthy seasons, I guess, and the episodes were good lengths, but 2 seasons for a show that is that popular and that big is kind of. I feel like it could have done more, but the story could not have gone any further. I'd feel like it could have been stretched out, maybe. Gravity Falls, definitely. I don't know about this, but I think if he had approached it a different way, then there could have squeezed more story out of it.
There's also the timing of it. I feel like he wanted to end on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
For some
this
reason.
because this came out on January 1st.
New Year's Day.
And well, because it's a quarantine thing also.
Exactly.
It's quarantine media.
And the quarantine imagery, of course.
Not that
The
quarantine was
pizza.
over then.
No.
Unfortunately,
I'm sure
still
Alec-
going.
Alex seems like the
For
type of person
some.
who's still wearing a mask. He seems,
Huh?
yeah. Alex seems the type of person to be still wearing a mask.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe what would you? How do you think you would read this differently if he was wearing a mask in that final scene?
I'd like it if, as he walked away, he took the mask off, and he said, "I hate COVID."
No, he took the mask off and he's like, my face, my choice.
Yeah.
I
guess that's the reading of this now.
Yeah.
This is an anti.
the whole point. Yeah, that was the whole point of Mr.
I guess
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
Huh.
Mr. Boop wears a mask, but then Mr. Boop doesn't. I guess that's something. I guess I should
Mr. Boop
dissect
says
that.
ID.
Oh.
ID?
Oh.
Yeah. 'Cause he's-
yeah.
'cause
What do
he's
I
the
think of
mask.
Mr. Boop as a whole?
Oh, we forgot to mention the final frame of the video is actually after the video ends, we see
Yeah.
a selection of other videos to click, and in the bottom right is a video to click for someone's playthrough of Mr. Boop and the Curse of the Dinner Party.
Huh.
It's
They kinda
called.
look like
That's interesting. I think. Oh, that's
they kind of the people in the thumbnail kind of look like us, but also not at all.
no, that's Alec and Betty.
Oh no, next to them, they kind of
Oh, the Subway employees.
yeah, they look like if someone were to draw both of us, but also not at all.
All right.
That's
What
weird. Huh.
do you mean not at all?
Well, I mean, I mean, they're like the spirit.
The joke
like they
for
were-
listeners at home is this is the video that we recorded that was inspiration for us to make this entire podcast.
Yeah, and I mean, the Lisa Dupe design doesn't look like me.
It's because you're wearing a
Right.
Subway visor.
No, I mean, as in the design of Lisa Dupe that I gave you to base that thumbnail image doesn't look like.
It looks like
me
you
in real-
sometimes.
Yeah, if I'm trying to look like Lisa Dupe the Lisa Dupe that I draw.
Why?
You
I
know?
mean, why do you draw yourself in the way that you don't look?
Because I used to look like that when I was like 16. Now I
Oh.
don't. Yeah, it's a fun video. But now we've got to
What
find.
about
We've
the
got to
comic
find.
as a whole? You asked me what I thought.
It's hard to think. It's such a monolith of my life of the past. I like Mr. Boop as a whole. It's a good comic.
I like
recommend
it.
Yeah.
You like the tone I said that in, and it's like, where's the butt?
But no, I think it says what it. If
I like
anything,
it. I would
looking
be
at it as-
embarrassed to say so.
Looking at it as a whole, I think that perhaps it is a bit muddy and disjointed in just how, like, as one piece.
Damn,
of
that's
media,
harsher than I would have gone with it.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, just as one piece of media, I think that
One
it
Piece?
explores a lot of ideas and it's really good. And as you're reading it, you're like, oh my god, it's going here and here. When you think in retrospect, I think the different directions that it takes ultimately lead to it feeling a little bit like disconnected. But the ride you take as you read it is
Well,
like.
I mean, I think they're divided
regardless.
between volumes.
They are
you know?
divided between
So I think it works.
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking about it as a whole, though. You know, I'm just.
I mean, that's
my-
that's like most TV shows or anything. I feel like
That's
that's a common thing with
Media.
serialized media. Serialized, is that the term I'm looking for?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, you know.
episodic. Or is episode?
guess.
I never know what episodic is, or if.
I don't
if
even
it's
know
the
what
opposite of what I
serialized
think it
is.
Serialized is when
Serialized is what we are
yeah.
because we're a podcast.
Yeah.
And that's what's.
but-
there's a podcast called Serial.
I think that Mr. Boop.
It's about cereal.
I think everyone should read Mr. Boop.
I don't think. No, I definitely wouldn't say that. I don't think
I-
everyone should read Mr. Boop. I think
Mhm.
I think there. I would be. I would not see. It's funny because the outcome of us making this podcast is you recommending Mr. Boop to everybody you know, whereas me, I don't think I would want. I would be embarrassed to mention it to anybody. To most people I know. He's like, yeah, go read this comic where fucking strip 100 is Betty Boop having graphic sex. Yeah, go
That's
check that out.
spoilers.
You'll have fun.
Spoilers, man. Wow.
This is we've gone over every strip. There's literally nothing left to spoil at all. Are there any guest strips in the list? Well, never. You know what?
No,
Never
there
mind.
aren't. We've looked through.
Oh,
there aren't.
okay.
No, but anyway, Mr. Boop is really good at taking you on a journey, right? And when you're reading it, you're along for the journey, and it's weird, and you're like, oh man, I wonder what's gonna happen next.
I
And
don't
that's what
think
it's
most of the
best
strip is something is what I would describe as a journey. I think in the home stretch, it's like kind of feels more like that. But
No,
and
but
obviously
I mean,
we've gone on a journey going through
Yeah,
every
most-
episode in such every strip in such detail. But just like I think a lot of it is pretty casual reading.
No, it is. It is. It's a weird combination of casual reading, but also you do want it. It takes you somewhere in the way that it creates this weird world, and then it's
I think a lot of
Moves
webcomics could
along.
be described this way.
yeah. Well, it moves you along, and you're like, wow.
Basically,
Why?
what I'm saying is Heartbreak High is better.
Yeah, I mean, Heartbreak High is better. Heartbreak High is Alec Robbins is Problem Sleuth. That's what it is.
Huh. So so Crime Hot is Psycholonials, whatever.
Something like that.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know what that is.
I'm just Alec. This is the first time I'm gonna apologize to you, first and last. I apologize for comparing your work to the work of Andrew Hussey. Actually, Lisa did that, so I take it back. Well,
yeah.
what's we don't even have the spreadsheet up anymore. What
We
is
don't-
what
I
is
mean-
left is there to say even?
You've been listening to Being Mr. Boop. We've got to tell the guys at work that we've finished the podcast Being Mr. Boop. You can visit
Lisa.
the show's website. Yes.
We finished the podcast.
Oh my god. Are we co-workers now?
That's literally how I would describe you if someone asked about you.
Wow. Well, that's fun.
My coworker Lisa.
I'd say you're my best friend, Ryan.
Oh, that too. That too. Yeah.
You
Best,
can visit
best,
the show's
best work friends.
Yeah, you can visit the shows. You can visit the show's website at www.beingmrboop.com for our full catalog of episodes, or to sign up to host the show.
Literally,
more
our full
updates-
catalog of episodes.
For more updates, you can't see the Patreon ones though. For more
Well-
updates, follow at Mr. Boop Pod on Twitter.
I don't
I'm
care
Lisa
about
Dupe.
those.
You can hear me on Being Jim Davis. You can find the Wikia I edited. You can listen
Make
to me
sure
on
you plug
Bandcamp.
everything.
Lisa Dupe on Bandcamp. I got Pobade. What else I got? I got Some Illness. Yeah, I got a Twitter, Lisa Dupe 2 on Twitter. I got
You don't
a
use Twitch.
I got a Tumblr. I got a Lisa Dupe on Tumblr.com. I got something else. I got a bunch of shit. You betcha. I've also got a SoundCloud that I forgot about until last week when it was credited, put in the description of Being Jim Davis episodes.
Huh.
I didn't upload anything to the SoundCloud that I made. It was all bootlegs that I thought that should be
More like
more
bootlegs.
available. Yeah, bootlegs. Oh, imagine that. I'm just gonna record these. I've been bootlegging the sessions.
No.
Just been uploading the whole session files with all the outtakes, and people are going to be like, "Oh my god, the full Mr. Boop session 261."
No. We need the ad revenue.
we need to put those on the special editions of these. The whatever the 8 CD edition of this episode.
We don't even cut out that much anyway.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This episode, on a CD, you can usually carry about 1 minute 20 of audio. And this episode alone would be like, what, 8 CDs? 4 CDs or some shit? Gross.
I don't know.
I hate media now.
Um,
That's
I'm-
everything.
I'm at Camu. Wait, do I say my name? I'm Ryan Pfeiffer, and I'm
Okay.
also at Candyman106 on Twitter.
Just monologue for a
And-
minute. That's what I did.
and at Semi-Sweet Stuffs for everything else I make. Twitter may be down by the time this podcast goes up. Who even knows? Who is to say? So you can also find every one of my links, pretty much, at linktra.e/Candy106. That's Linktree, but there's a dot before the 2 E's, and then /Candy106. You can find my Discord server, my Twitter if it's still up, my Patreon, my gaming channel, my edits channel, my Twitch channel, this podcast, my primary YouTube channel, which I don't use, my DeviantArt, my other YouTube channel, another one. My SoundCloud, where I used to make mashups, TikTok, which I don't use, my stream archive, Battleship posting, my other edits channel, my other SoundCloud, my Letterboxd, my backlog, my Instagram, my Tumblr, my IMDb profile, my Spotify profile, my Goodreads profile, my Steam page, I guess. Every podcast episode I've appeared on besides this one.
Oh yeah, check out the other stuff tab on beingmrboop.com. That's
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
if you've
At
got a
FoodEater98 on Twitter, I only post pictures of my feed.
if you formed a parasocial relationship with us already, you can do that.
If you formed a parasocial relationship, make sure to look at every single thing I eat.
Yeah. You're just waiting for someone to have a parasocial relationship with you. And that's when you cash in.
No,
That's-
I probably already have that. That's actually a pretty popular Twitter as well. You never expect that big. I think Chris probably didn't expect his foot blog to be popular either.
They're good photos. He's got this. We've never said that. That guy's got disgusting
photos are good
feet.
too. His food,
Your
his
food
food-
and his feet. Your
his food photos are good. My food photos are good.
Your food photos and his foot photos are on the same level as disgusting to me.
What? I eat good food. Excuse me. Also, his pictures aren't even that gross. They're just.
No,
normal.
the photos aren't gross. He's just got gross feet.
He's old.
He's gross. Get him out of here.
I assume we're fading out this whole time.
Get him out of here.
Thank you and good night.
Being Mr. Boop, I release you.
This podcast was brought to you by the Pitch Drop Podcast Network. Like what you just heard? Support the show by going to patreon.com/pitchdrop. And while you're at it, check out pitchdrop.net for more of this and other shows.